Morning, welcome along to Sewing Street. My name's Debbie and we've got 4 live hours of sewing. I'm not alone today, Catherine's with us, so I'll introduce you in just a second. And we're going to be covering dressmaking, we're going to be looking at more dressmaking, we're going to be doing a little bit of patchwork, and we have the 570 sewing machine in the last hour, but I'll give you details later. But because you're here nice and early this morning, we have our early bird special and we have got a packet of pins. I know you're beside yourself, aren't you? But the thing is, you can't do much work without them. And these are flower head pins. I like a flower head pin myself, no matter what I'm sewing, unless it's very fine silks or something like that, because I can see them. So they're nice and long. So I've got some in the tray here. So if you haven't used them before, you can get quite a few layers of fabric on them. So you get a really good hold on your material. I mean, like stuff like that, so they're nice and long. Because they're flower head, they're all plastic, so don't iron over them, but they're flat, so they're not going to leave indentations in your fabric either. We've got different colours in the pack as well, so if you do drop them, then you can see them, which is something that I like about it. I do have little steel pins, but I don't tend to use them because I just find them a nightmare if they drop on the floor. And we've got different colours, so they stand out against different colours of fabric as well. So there are 100 pins in the pot. They're great for quilting through lots of layers of fabric as well, because they are so long. So if you've got layers of wadding, or you're using your H640, or even if you're using foam stabilizers, so you've got something really thick in there, you've got a really nice long length, easy to use pin. I tend to sew, if I'm dressmaking, I'll pin along the edge of the fabric, and I like to leave the pins sticking out a little bit. So with smaller pins you can't do that, they have to go in all the way. But if I leave them sticking out, that means that I'm holding the layers of fabric together securely, and as I approach with the sewing machine, I can just whip them out as I sew because I can see them there. Because I never sew over pins. So never want to hit a pin with your sewing machine needle, because not just the fact it might break, but it can affect the timing on your machine as well if you're unlucky. So that's the way that I sew with them anyway, but I do like flat head pins. I do like the length of them too. So 100 of those, saving £2, but every little counts. And if you place your order now, you can order as many as you like, by the way, and if you place your order now, you're going to pay £3.95 postage, and that postage is for all day long. And that means that if you come back later on and think, you know, I should have had two of those packs, or I'm going to buy one from a mate, or I want to buy a sewing machine, or I need a fat quarter, we're not going to charge you any extra postage if you come back again. So your £3.95 postage is out of the way now, and anything else you order all the way through to midnight tonight, maybe you want a magnetic rose-coloured pincushion, anything else that you choose to order, it's postage free basically. So again, what kind of pins do you prefer? I don't mind a glass head pin. Then don't tend to be as long as a flower head pin. That's why one of the reasons why I like them. And again, for any type of fabric, I know you get special pins for special fabric. If I can't talk. It was going so well up to now, wasn't it? There's always something goes a little bit wrong, and it's my voice today. I do apologise. And if I come out with random dialects and accents as well, apologise for that in advance too. Just seems to happen. I was Liverpudlian the other day. I don't know why. Do apologise. Okay, so. If you've got a finer fabric, then I suggest you pin within the seam allowance. So if it does leave holes, then you're not going to see them. That's what I was going around the trees and houses to tell you. So again, £8.99. You can order on 0800 001 4433. You can order on sewingstreet.com. So you can order on the website or the phone line. That's entirely up to you. Okay, we've got some more bits and bobs for you in the show. The 570 is coming up in the 11 o'clock hour, but it happens to be there now if you wanted to order one. Back in stock for you. Here we've got 200 stitches, we have the alphabet, we've got lots of feet included, you have all of your steps, all of your instructions in here as well, which is really clear and easy to understand. There's the extension table and a bundle. We have a metre of the checked, and we've got a metre of the spot, and you've got spare bobbins, and you've got some thread snips, and you're not even paying for those. That's just a thank you. It's easy to use, it's digital, it's computerised, you've got a speed control, you've got your scissor snips. It's a really lovely but compact compact sewing machine. And this is the machine. I don't mind if she's watching, because I did tell her yesterday I was going to buy her one. I'm going to buy one for my daughter. I didn't order it this morning because I haven't got a signal on my phone in here, but this is going to be for Kimberly. Reason being, I want to buy her a machine that's going to last a long time. I don't want to be replacing it in 12 months' time. She's dressmaking at the moment, but who knows, she might want to do a bit of quilting one day. So I want a machine that's going to be able to cope with lots of different weights of fabric and different genres of sewing. I want a machine that's quite easy to use, so something where you just push buttons. That's the easiest thing, isn't it? But I want a machine for her that you can personalise as well. But she lives in a little flat in London, so she hasn't got a lot of space. So although it's very tempting to give her my machine, which is huge, and then I'd have to have an upgrade on that, wouldn't I? And that 780 is still on the website after all. But now if you're short on space, you've got a really lovely quality machine that doesn't take up much space. But that's 11 o'clock. I'm not even talking about it now. We have a book bundle that we're going to be looking at with Katharine in this hour. So first time we put these two together. These are a great idea for beginner sewers because you're not using very much fabric and they're very simple projects as well. So we've got fat quarter vintage and fat quarter accessories. It is the both of them, so you've got a saving of £6 off the usual price. And I think for beginners, again, you're not wasting very much fabric if things go horribly wrong. And it's quite nice to be able to make something, to produce something that is useful, that you can do in a few hours. It's not going to take you weeks to do. So this is vintage. £12.90, look at that. I know, and you're paying less than £10 for yours. So I'll have a quick flick through. How many projects have we got? 25 projects in this one. Oh, they're smart boys, aren't they? He's looking at that saying, what on earth is this? Never seen one of those before. Oh, and don't put your fingers on the grooves, matey. You'll be in trouble for that one. Still got some records somewhere. I think I've got some Beatles. I might even have an Elvis. I wasn't even a Beatles or Elvis fan, so I don't know where they've come from. So about the sewing. And because it's vintage, we've actually got themed projects taking you through the eras. So I think it's more, oh, my grandma used to do stuff like that. Hand embroidered tablecloths and napkins and the like. There's a pyjamas case, 1940s. So I think it's more of the style of the fabric that you're making things out of, makes it vintage. Coat hanger covers, oh, peg bags. They're really popular now, aren't they? Peg bags, aprons, tea cozies, all of the things that went through a phase of being not so much on trend are very trendy now. So nice gift ideas as well. It looks like he's been naughty, doesn't he? It wasn't me. I didn't wee in the hot water bottle. So, oh, look. So 1960s, bit of flower power there. And bless. Look, he's been naughty. You can just tell he's done something naughty. Baby changing mat. And then you've got your patterns in the back there. So that's vintage. You're getting 2 books though. So this one is accessories. Got that fabric. So you've got a bit of beading going on in there as well. But hey, we're part of Jewellery Maker. So if you needed any of those kind of bindings and beads and wires and things that I don't really understand, take a look at the Jewellery Maker website. So I've got the head wrap. Katharine's been making some of these. And cameo brooches, butterfly brooch. We've got all the bits and bobs as well. If you have a look on the website, we've got brooches that you can decorate. And we've got all your fat quarter fabrics as well. It's a key fobs. But again, really simple. Although it says fat quarters, some of these projects don't take so much as a fat quarter. So if you've got smaller pieces of fabric, I mean, don't rush out and buy yourself fat quarters because it says fat quarters. They're just small pieces of fabric, basically. So you can use up your stash with those. We have some fabrics for you there. We wouldn't be a sewing channel without, would we? Now these are panels, so these are unique to Sewing Street, designed and printed in the UK, and they are fat quarters, but they're huge ones. So larger than you would expect. They're actually 70 centimetres by 50. So you've got your half a metre there, which you expect from a fat quarter, but they're wider than normal. 100% cotton, and it's just £14.99. So that, I think, it's called In the Kitchen. I think it's quite retro, this one. I love the little teapots one on your bottom right-hand side of your screen. I do like that one. Quite fun. And there, oh yeah, with a vintage book, that would look very good, because I think the colours are quite vintage inspired as well. Get a lot there, don't you? You're going to have lots of projects you're going to be able to make with that one. Then, and this is the second, but this is the posh one. This one's a little bit classy. In greys and marmalade is this one? Yeah, marmalade colours. Oh, paisley marmalade, this one. So again, classic. Still a little bit 60s, isn't it? I used to put paisley flashes in the side of my jeans to make them really, really flared in the 1970s. Like loons. Loons were really flared jeans. Oh, I was bee's knees. Everything was homemade. So again, £14.99 for 4 huge fat quarters. And again, they're 70 centimetres by 50 centimetres wide. I was saying yesterday with Rachel, I wish we had, I wish photography wasn't so expensive in those days, because you only tended to take photos when you were on holiday, because you had to go and get them developed and everything. And so we ended up with not very many photos. So there's no pictures of my loons. Got more fat quarters. I love these bundles. These are, they're almost like a fine burlap kind of feeling, like they're not Hessian as such. Well, burlap is Hessian, isn't it, I suppose? They're canvassy. So they're really strong, sturdy fabrics. I think for bag making, these would be ideal. And I love the colours on them as well. I think they go so well together. There's 5 in the bundle here for your £14.99. So you've got the stripe, which looks a little bit like ticking. There's the plain, but it's a plain red and white weave, so it's got texture to it. The finer stripe, you've got the fine spot, and then the lovely big flowers there as well. So £14.99, that's only £3 per fat quarter. And for that weight of fabric, that's really good. This is the same weight. So this is the brown and natural fat quarters. And here you've got 4. I love this organic kind of look of this fabric. It's rustic, it's natural, it doesn't argue with anything. They're £12.99, which is what, £3.33 per fat quarter. And they're really good weights of fabric. Even the gingham there it's heavier than a cotton. It is cotton, but it's a heavy weight of cotton. And again, £12.99 is your price for those. And then we have the naturals. This has got a Hessian in it. So these are heavy. So they'd make really good sturdy boxes or bags, and you probably wouldn't need any interfacing with those. And with this is one that I'd pull some of the threads out and make decorative things and roll them up and make roses, and I have before now pulled some of the threads out and then taken a ribbon and weave it in between the threads that are left. That's in my Sew Outdoor Living book, which is on the website. There's a whole outdoor picnic set with that technique, which is really easy but very effective. That's only £8.99, and that's £2.33 each. I'd multi-order that one while we've still got them before somebody upstairs. Well, they're not upstairs, they've moved. We're on our own now. I don't know where they are. So we can do what we want. So order as many as you like at £8.99 before they notice. Okay, then I did promise you I'm not on my own today, so I'm going to step to one side and hand over to Katharine. But before I do, here's a little bit about her.
Hello, I'm Katharine Wright. I'm from Leicestershire Craft Centre, which is based in Market Harborough. I love all kinds of sewing, but probably my favourite thing to do is dressmaking. But I also teach patchwork and free motion embroidery and anything to do with textiles, really. I love to have a go at felting and crochet and knitting and, oh, you name it, I'll have a go at it. So I started sewing when I was 7. My mum taught me to sew, and the very first thing I made was an apron. But I'm a terribly impatient person. I also just want to get on with the project. So I didn't wait for her to help me cut it out, and I cut it out myself, and I didn't know you had to have a seam allowance. So I made the world's smallest apron, and my mum still has it somewhere. Sewing tips, I would say, I teach a lot of people to sew, especially beginners, and I would say don't get disheartened. Take your learning journey slowly. Don't expect to suddenly make a ball gown or suddenly make a king-size quilt. Build up your skills, slowly. And I would also say the iron is your friend. Use your iron a lot. It makes your sewing look so much better. It helps you get things in place where you want it before you sew, and is a really handy thing to have.
And here's the lady herself. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You good?
Yes, very well, thank you.
You've been very busy. You've done an awful lot of prep for this show.
Yeah, but it's been really fun. I really enjoyed the books and all the little projects in it, and there was loads to choose from, and if I'd had more time I could have made loads more, to be fair.
Well, there's 50 projects between the two of them.
50 altogether, absolutely. And do you know what? I think in these books you could, if you started now, you could do a present for absolutely anybody you knew for Christmas.
Really?
There is something for everybody in these books.
I think that's quite nice, isn't it, to have, a lot of people sew just because they enjoy it, but to have a purpose.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to, I don't know, you're gifting things, you're teaching somebody how to sew. They're quick projects, aren't they? Quick and easy.
They are. They're nice, quick projects. So let me show you the ones that I did make. So let's see. In the accessories book, so there's quite a lot of jewellery in here, and I didn't start with the jewellery, but if you wanted to have a go at jewellery making, I thought it was a really good introduction to it. There's a nice introduction at the beginning that tells you about the different findings to use. They're really well explained, so it would be a really good starting point if you wanted to go at a new craft and to try some things. But we also had headgear. So here's my head wrap. I use that nice vintagey one actually, and I'm going to show you how to make that one as we chat. And the scarf. I had a go at the patchwork scarf, which did use more fabric. It used about 8 fat quarters, but I just really liked it. I just really liked putting them all together.
I wouldn't have thought, you're rustling your mic a little bit.
Sorry.
Sorry. I wouldn't have thought of using that fabric as a scarf, but it really works, doesn't it?
Well, I like it. I really like patchwork clothes. I'm very fond of mix and match sort of fabrics to wear, and I just liked all the sort of neutral colours and thought you could wear them with all kinds of things. Yeah.
Or even if you wanted something plain and you just wanted to add interest to an outfit.
That's right. And this was nice, especially if you're a beginner, because it just used squares and it offsets them in a brick style, so you don't even have to match seams together.
That's a good idea.
So really nice way of just getting into sewing squares together and patchwork and making something nice. So I did really enjoy doing that one. Right, let me get out my bits for that and show you how to make
While you're just doing that, we haven't said good morning, have we? I'm not doing my job. Hi, Morag. She's been up all night. But she's watching this. Bear with us. Morag's on call and she tends to drop asleep in the shows, but I'm glad you're there with us this morning. Dawn's always there. Morning, Dawn. Looking forward to another great show today. It's going to be entertaining as usual. I don't know what you're talking about. Serious business here at Sewing Street. We don't have a lark about or anything. Morning, Nova. What a lovely mum you are. Oh, I know. Spoiler rotten. She deserves it. You'll have one happy daughter with a new machine. Happy Monday. Great show as always. Thank you. That's our Facebook page. I'm not on the fans page, I'm on the Facebook page. So if you want to send a message into the studio, photographs, comments, hello, good morning, what you up to, that's Sewing Street TV. Or you can email the studio, which is studio@sewingstreet.com. This morning we have Jo directing and we have Laura producing. And it's only the 4 of us. I know. Yeah. So, okay, over to you.
So I have cut 2 nice strips from each of the fat quarters. I'm using those cute little teapots, and then there's a small piece for the elastic at the bottom. So this is ever such a simple make. You're going to stitch them, you do one of each, right sides together, and we're going to stitch them into a little tube actually before we turn them round. I think this head wrap would be quite useful for when you're putting on your makeup.
Yep.
Want to keep your hair out the way you know, if you're doing jobs around the house.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm trying to go au naturel.
Are you?
As in beauty products. So I've been looking at recipes for cleansers and toners and things like that. So I'm trying honey and sugar at the moment. I don't want it in my hair. So yes, while you're putting makeup on or when you're cleansing or anything like that is a good idea. Or even on warm days, you know, I don't want my hair stuck to my face.
It's due to be very warm in the next week.
Is it?
It is, yes. The heat wave is going to be back from Wednesday onwards. I heard the weather forecast as I drove along this morning.
Oh.
And we're going to get hot again, so this might just be a useful thing, because I can't bear my hair all around me when it's hot. So nice tube like that, and then you have it so that your seams are in the middle rather than like that.
Okay.
And this, when we sew it all together, means that we can see both of the fabrics. So we'll quickly whiz down this one as well.
So you need 2 tubes?
2 tubes.
Oh, because it wraps, doesn't it?
Because,
so
because there's like a little knot in the middle.
Right.
Or sort of on the top. They fold around each other, which when I put this together, I will be able to show you.
Nice for the kids as well. And actually, to get children started sewing is a nice idea.
Really good for children, actually, some of these, because they don't use a lot of fabric. There's there are very good instructions in the book. What I liked was every project gave you a seam allowance.
Oh.
Because sometimes books hide them away at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, what's the seam allowance supposed to be on this? And you've got to hunt around for it. Well, it doesn't. Each project, it says on that page what the seam allowance is. All the measurements are in both imperial and metric, which is nice, because we all tend to use different, don't we?
Yeah. I use both, actually. You know, I was thinking about, because I was writing some instructions for something or other yesterday, and I was saying, so you measure 16 inches here and 17 inches there. You'll need to buy 1/2 metre of fabric.
Yeah.
But that's how much, because I buy by the metre.
Yes.
But
well, we do, don't we? We buy all our fabrics by the metre, but then you start doing your patchwork, and often everything's cut in inches.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to kind of do a bit of both, haven't you? Right, so we'll give those a very quick press, because pressing always makes it all look nicer, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like the iron.
So you've got boys?
No, I've got 2 boys. No, I haven't. I've got 2 girls and a boy. I'm forgetting who you are, and I bet they're watching as well.
So do they sew?
They do. They also
Do they?
Yes,
How old are they?
Anna is 15. She's super sewer. She's a super sewer. She's been doing it for quite a long time. Henry is 13, and he doesn't do as much now, but he certainly could if he wanted to. And Helena's 11, and she's really good as well. She's getting brilliant. She's made herself some nice little dresses for summer.
Has she?
Yeah. So it's really nice.
Hello to you all, if you're watching.
Yes, good morning. Okay, so you've got your 2 tubes, and what you're actually going to do is you're going to put them like that, little cross, and then fold one over the other.
Right.
Like so. And that you can put to one side, and we're going to make a little channel for this bottom elastic part.
It's actually very glamorous, isn't it?
It is quite glam.
I'm thinking Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, it's a little bit retro, isn't it? But actually quite in fashion at the moment.
Yeah.
If you've seen in the shops, there's lots of headbands with that kind of style. So, and you know, it would look nice in the paisley fabric, don't you think, as well?
Yes. And you know, I think I might do one in toweling for when I'm having a bath.
Now that would be very useful. It would be very useful. Right, so
what do you think to the machine, by the way?
Very nice.
It's quick, isn't it?
It's lovely. I like the scissors on it. I always like a machine with scissors. It's nice and smooth. I think machines with speed controls are brilliant as well.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're teaching children, they're great. You can slow it right down for them. You're not going to worry.
So did you teach yours, or do they learn at school?
No, I've taught mine.
Have you?
Yeah.
Do they do needlework at school these days?
They do textiles, but they don't tend to do it till seniors.
Oh, okay.
So by the time mine had got to that stage, they kind of knew a lot, so they found it a bit boring.
Yeah.
But yeah, But and you find, it's funny, you find that because obviously you've got boys and girls learning, they don't learn dressmaking.
Oh.
They have to do unisex projects. So often the projects aren't very exciting because they've got to find something that will suit everybody. But then they're often a little bit...
About big designers who are
I
men
know.
designing women's clothes.
I know. And actually, dressmaking skills are so fantastic to learn, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, but I teach loads of dressmaking to children.
Do you?
It's out there. It's out there, and there's lots of people that like doing it. Boys and girls. Had a great before lockdown lad called George who was very keen to come and do some things, but didn't particularly want to do it in a class with lots of girls, which is fair enough. And he came and he made a waistcoat to wear at a wedding.
Oh,
It was fantastic, and he was so proud of himself. That feeling of when you've made something that you feel proud of and you wear and people admire it is it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so you've made my little tube for the elastic, and I've threaded the elastic through, and then it all goes together at once. Let's see if I can get this the right way round. So we pop the elastic in the middle, and then these actually fold over the top, fold in, so it's all neat and tidy. So it's quite bulky, but it all gets hidden away inside.
Okay.
So you can't see that at all, can you?
No.
I don't know if I'm going to get it the right way round now. It could easily go a bit pear-shaped, but let's see how the machine coats with a nice thick bit, shall we? And it's just a 1 centimetre. Oh, look, no problems at all. I've gone a little bit close on that side, so I'm just going to go over it again.
Morning, Ruth. It's raining in Durham. She's watching with a cuppa. And Kirsty's in the office on her own, so she snuck her iPad in to watch.
Great idea.
Don't blame me, Kirsty.
Okay, and then this comes around the other side, and we're going to do the same thing and hope that we've got the twist right. But you'll forgive me if I haven't, because I don't want to spend ages just working it out.
No, it does. I get things wrong all the time.
Well, the thing about sewing is this part, the sewing part, if it goes wrong, you can undo it, can't you?
It's the cutting.
It's only the
part
cutting that's really important. And actually, being best friends with your unpicker is not a bad thing. I quite liked this book as well because the writer, she suggested neatening with pinking shears, and I love neatening with pinking shears. It makes things really fast when you just want to do a nice quick make. So then it just comes around like that. I think I've lost my elastic. It's pinged out just because I didn't put many pins in. But you can see as you turn it round, you get your nice knotty bit at the top.
Yeah.
And you can see both fabrics.
And see how quick that was as
It
well.
was really quick make, isn't it?
A quick project.
Yes. So that was from the accessories book.
Right.
That one and the scarf. And then from the vintage book. Now, I did particularly like the vintage book, best of all, just because it just had such a lot in there. So things for your house. So if I move those away, I can show you my table runner. I did this with the nice red one, the red pack, and I did think a bit Christmassy.
It is actually, isn't it?
But in quite a stylish kind of way, Debbie. Not too naff prints, quite stylish. And I thought little green trim just gives it a slight Christmas feel without being overtly Christmassy. And that weight of fabric, that linen-y feel, canvassy feel, was lovely and would be really nice on your table, actually. So there was things like the table runner and the peg bag, things that were for your home. Then there was quite a lot of, things for children, which was nice. Did the little dress. And I actually did this double-sided, so because of the fat quarters. So actually, any little girl who wore it, she could decide which side she wanted it.
That's a nice idea.
Which I thought was quite fun.
That's like the pillowcase dress.
It is,
style,
very
isn't
much
it?
so.
Yeah.
So, just a rectangle. There's a little template to cut your armholes out. Little binding on the armhole, thread your elastic through. I mean, it couldn't be easier. Again, lovely, simple project. And you can size them up ever so easily for different ages, can't you?
Yeah.
So...
maybe put pockets on it. Bit of lace around the hem.
Yes, yes, loads of opportunities to bling it up, absolutely. And then there was in various sort of little bits and bobs. So there was a nice little flower brooch. I tell you what I did like about this book as well, quite a lot of little hand projects and embroidery projects.
Nice.
And sometimes it's quite nice to do a bit of hand stitching.
Yeah.
It's relaxing, isn't it? And you can do it in front of the telly.
You can do it in the heat wave outside, like dragging the machine outside.
Yes.
I'm so glad it's going to be warm again. I don't mind the rain occasionally now if it's going to be warm again.
No.
The lawn's going to be grateful.
So this is the flat little flowery brooch that I'm just going to show you how to make in there, which only uses some very little bits and pieces. And what I've done, what it tells you to do, so you don't even need a special pattern for this, it tells you to draw around a teacup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you do seven circles round a teacup, and you fold them into quarters and press them, which is what I've done there. Ready. And then there were some quite nice ideas as well for using vintage fabrics.
Really?
As you flicked through, there were some. So you know how you get the little coasters and the little and tablecloths and things that are beautiful, and you don't want to throw them away because they belong to somebody special. But at the same time, you're not going to use them because they're not really in fashion, and we don't use them in the same way, do we, these days? But there was a lot of really nice ideas of incorporating those into new projects, which actually I think is a really lovely, lovely idea. So at the front, I think the first one in the 1930s, that needle case uses a little embroidered coaster.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
And yeah, so if you'd got something special, you know, you could use that, and you're using it all the time then, but just in a different way. And I thought that was, you know, really great idea, because we have them and they sit in the drawer. I've lost my needle now. Oh, there it is. But actually you can enjoy them. And there were one or two like that, which I thought were good.
I did buy a load of doilies from a well-known auction site. And they're beautiful. Some of them were crocheted and some of them were tatting, but they were really beautiful. And just use sections of them on cushion covers and things like that. Book covers are a nice way to use them. I
inherited some of my nana's doilies, and I used a couple on pockets on an apron, and then we stiffened a load and made like a lampshade.
Oh, that's
really nice. Yeah.
I've never made a lampshade.
So with this little brooch, what you're going to do is you're going to do a little running stitch all the way along the curved edge. And when you get to the end, you're going to go to the next one. So we're going to put them all together on a long chain.
Oh, and because you're sewing around the curved edge, you don't have raw edges when it's finished then. I was thinking that when you cut them out, how are you going to hem that?
But luckily I don't have to. It's all going to get covered up by the central button. So it's quite nifty.
Okay. We've got a question from Kim. Morning, Kim. She says, morning, Debbie. A question, I'm afraid it's not dressmaking. It's fine, we're not dressmaking now. I got some Sewing Street black PU and wanting to make it a clutch wristlet. I'm going to use H640 to give it some body. Do I need to add interfacing to the PU, or will it be okay without? It depends how structured you want it to be. Personally, I think if you've got the PU and you've got a lining fabric, it's going to be too floppy. So I would put H640 on the back of your PU. However, you can't iron it in the conventional way because you can't put the iron on the PU because it will melt. So if you turn it over and iron from the H640 side, just touch it with the iron, give it a blast of steam and touch it, because if you hold the iron on the H640 it will wrinkle up and it'll melt because it's polyester. So you can give it a quick touch and adhere it that way. Otherwise use 505 spray and stick it on that way, so you're not touching any heat with it at all. And you can still use that with the H640 if that's what you've got. But personally I think it needs, a bag would need some extra structure even if you're using PU. Have you ever used a PU?
Yes. Last time I was here, I did a PU bag.
Did you?
Yes.
It's so soft, isn't it?
It is nice. There's some, you know, you have to be a little bit careful not to stretch it, and you have only got one shot with it, haven't you?
Yes.
Once it's got holes in, you know, so it's got its own little things, but it does make lovely results. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So you can see I'm starting to gather those up. You can see they're starting to make a little flower
Yes.
shape. Of course, you can alter the size of your circle.
Okay.
You could have a, if you wanted something a bit bolder.
We've had some email messages as well. Morning to everybody emailing. Shelley's messaged in. Hi, Shelley. She says, morning, morning. She loves a Monday morning with me and the crew. Thank you. That's Shelley in Lincolnshire. It was raining this morning in Lincolnshire when I left. In fact, it rained all the way over.
It rained all the way over for me.
Did it?
Yes. Yeah.
Morning, Anne. It's the first time she's emailed in. Nice to hear from you. She says she watches me every time I'm on. That's very nice. Thank you very much. Sundays and Mondays normally. And she's learnt so much. She loves the hints and tips, and she's got some of my books. So thank you very much. Lovely to hear from you. Keep your emails coming in. Do you know, when I first started in shopping telly, we'd get faxes. There weren't emails in those days. That was 1924.
No, my first job, I did a lot of research, and I used to have to send faxes all over the world to different people.
Did you?
And then they'd fax their answers back. None of this emailing or just finding it on the internet. Yeah. Yeah, I spent hours at a fax machine.
It was so
modern,
funny
paper, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, it seemed amazing, didn't it? How could someone in another place just...
I know.
Come? Yeah. I don't know. You see, my children now, they're amazed by stuff like that. We've been watching a programme where, quite an old programme, where the people's mobile phones don't take pictures. And my youngest daughter's like blown away. How could that possibly be?
Was that one of those where the battery's this big that it sits on top of as well? Yeah. My first one was actually on a curly wire straight into the car. You couldn't even take it out.
Well, you were very posh having one back there.
Oh, only the best. But I can remember getting our first landline, and the first phone call we had was from an auntie, and we all gathered around the phone and listened to it ring. And phone numbers only had 4 numbers then, because not that many people actually had phones. And you always answered the phone with your number, 5654.
Yes, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't anymore.
No. Hello. Well, the thing is now you know who you're talking to because the number on the name comes up.
Yes.
It's amazing. I wonder where we'll be in another 20 years.
Wow, who dares to think? So we're going to gather them all up. That one's got stuck. Make that go along.
See, this is a bit, I know it's a brooch, but just a decoration on the flap of a bag.
Absolutely.
Or you could make a wreath.
You could do lots of them. Make a little key ring. You could put them on a headband.
Yeah.
For little girls, or on a little slide.
Yeah.
Would be pretty.
And it's in red fabric, so it's a little bit poinsettia looking.
Oh, are we thinking Christmas again,
Oh, I'm
Debbie?
thinking Christmas. It's
we
Christmas
can't be
next
too.
week.
I know. I did see you were doing all your Christmassy things next week. But if you're going to make them for people, you actually can't start too early, can you? You can't. I did one year manage to make everything. A homemade gift for everybody except my husband. He missed out, but I don't think he minded. He has to put up with the making all the time. And but I started in July. It took that long.
So is it just sewing, or are you a paper crafter? Do you knit?
I knit and I crochet, and I can make simple jewellery. I'm not very good with paper. I don't know what it is. I can cut a piece of fabric anyway.
Yep.
Can't cut a straight line in a piece of paper.
I was the same. You see paper crafters crafting, you think, oh, I could do that. That actually looks quite easy.
No, it's really hard.
Mine looks like a 3-year-old's made it. I'm rubbish at paper craft.
So then I've got it all gathered up, and I'm just going to attach it. I've got a little round of felt for the back. Getting myself in a tangle here, but I'm still using the same long piece of thread. So that's working quite nicely.
Did you sew at school?
I did. I remember, but my mum had taught me. My mum had taught me to sew. So when I got to school, again, I'd done quite a bit. I remember making a pair of pyjamas. We had to do nightwear, and I chose this pair of pyjamas. They had ruffles everywhere. I'm not really a ruffly person at all, but yeah, ruffles. And they were in like a really nice, like sort of really flannelly cotton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or flannelette.
So yeah, I
Cosy.
do remember making those. And I liked sewing lessons at school. Yeah, and I made I used to make a lot of my own clothes for sixth form, and back when I was at school, we didn't call them proms, but we had balls. We had quite a lot of balls, and I made a couple of ball gowns, which I've still got.
Have you?
Yeah, still got them in the loft. And I did a lot of dancing when I was growing up, so I did used to make my own costumes. My mum obviously made them when I was younger, and then it got to the point where she was like, well, you can do it now. You can learn how to sew. Because in those days, of course, I mean, now your children dance and you have to fork out a fortune for the costumes. But back then, I made your own. Right, so
I gave up needlework because they introduced in my final year at the grammar school pottery.
oh, nice.
So I thought I'd rather do pottery than sewing. So I've got a pottery O level. There you go.
We didn't have that option. I think you could do it. I was in the group that were considered more clever, so they didn't think home economics was the thing to take. So I didn't take it, but look what I'm doing. So you should do the things you like. So for the centre, they suggest a self-covered button.
Okay.
This is actually just a normal button, and that I covered, and it's going to go in the centre like that. So we're just going to pop that on. Now somewhere I should have a brooch back, but I don't know if I can see it.
We've got some. I'll tip me one out.
Oh, thank you. I quite like wearing a brooch. I think it, just jazzes up a coat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or a lapel.
Yeah.
And this is such a nice, easy one. Let me just actually try and get it in the centre though. Would be good.
It's nice in that fabric.
Those packs, I mean, I think any of those red ones would be really nice actually. But you could do alternating fabrics if you've got a few, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You could actually add another layer and make almost like a little rosette. And in fact, in one of, I can't remember which one now, I think it was in the accessories book, there was a lovely rosette that uses lots of different fabrics like stacked up on top of each other, which I thought was really nice. And I mean, anybody who's into sewing has a ton of scraps, don't they?
Oh, we never throw anything away.
Well, absolutely. And so lots of these projects only use little bits, which was really nice. So you could work your way through some of those piles and piles of fabrics.
Was it that one?
Yeah, I thought that was charming.
Yeah.
Actually, and they've done it in very bright colours there. But if you did it in some of those naturally linens, it would have a totally different look to it, wouldn't it?
I'm thinking with maybe frayed edges as well. It'd look quite nice.
Yes.
Maybe with the
you could have the
more of
Hessian on the back.
ones. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or what about very fine voile or chiffon-y type net type of
Yeah,
things?
you could
That'd
have
be
a layer
nice.
of that. Have you ever done that, Debbie, where you burn the edges of it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that makes a great effect, doesn't it? I mean, it's
So-
slightly hazardous. You've got to be careful.
Actually, I made some quite recently because I made a wreath using. I bought pink polyester. If you're going to use fabric to melt, it's got to be polyester because cotton will just go to ashes. And if you put lots of layers of them together, tweezers, and just hold them over a flame, they all curl in different directions, and it looks almost like a carnation type, really fluffy flower. When you
Brilliant.
do that.
Do you know what? It's ages since I've done that, and it's a really nice technique to do.
In fact, I've got
a little picture of it.
I've got a little picture to show you. Oh, that's my granddaughter wearing them.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Nice.
A lovely headband.
Can't show you that. Unless I can.
Very
I don't
cute,
get rid of
very
all of
pretty.
the apps on my phone so you can see the picture behind it.
That's all a bit techie for me.
No, I don't want you. Siri, go away. No. Oh no, he's listening.
Okay.
Oh. How can he speak when I've muted it? He's just said okay.
Right. I can't get the brooch back open. let's
There.
try that one.
You see that one? Oh, she's gone. Where are you? There you go. That's my little one.
Very sweet. So I'm just going to stitch a brooch back on the back to finish off. These are very useful things to have in your thing, just like a few little findings. So findings being the collective term for all the bits that you use to make jewellery.
But again, you can have a look on the Jewellery Maker website. Oh, where's she gone? There she is, look. Well, there's one of them. And she's sweet. But that's that method with the polyester and melting them. And I put some little beads and things in there as well.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
And these little projects, you could embellish, you could add extra beads if you wanted to. I mean, there's real, it tells you the basics, but there's real opportunities to get a little bit more creative with them if you want to.
Yeah, because I'm thinking things like if you are, actually not if you're a paper crafter particularly, you can get those glues with glitter in them.
Oh,
So
glitter glue, it's much better than
yes.
normal glitter.
But you could just put it around the edge of the petals
You
and give it a Christmassy kind of look.
Quite easy to sew your brooch back on. Just going around those little holes.
So I'd be tempted to glue it.
You could glue it, but it might not last as well. Sewing is I would say going to just be a little bit more secure in the long run. But yeah, you could glue it. You could glue the felt back on. You could, if you wanted to, you could glue all the bits together.
I do like you. I do find hand sewing really relaxing, and something like this where you don't have to be too precise. You're not embroidering or or English paper piecing or anything like that where you've got to pay a bit of attention.
I like all sorts of I like hand embroidery a lot as well.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Not cross stitch so much. That's a bit boring. It's a bit too. It's all the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like when you get to do a lot of different things. And there's lots of embroidery out there that doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to hold that petal in that's decided to move in a funny direction. And then we'll be done.
Don't you think about it, 50 projects for £19.98. Even if you were to download patterns, which can be about £3 each or something like that on average, unless you're dressmaking, then it's such a lot of value, isn't it?
It is good. And I mean, sometimes you get a book and you think, well, I like one or two, but I don't like them all. But actually, I liked loads of them. I would have probably had a go at least 20 out of the 25 in that book.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I thought there were some really, really good projects and nicely explained, lovely photos that show you what to do, easy to follow. All the terminology explained. Because if you're a beginner, sometimes it does seem a little bit of a minefield, doesn't it?
Yes.
But it shows you how to make your binding for things. It's really a really good one, I thought. I enjoyed doing it a lot.
40p a project that works out at.
Right, there we go. Shall we pin it on?
That's loads of fun, isn't it? That's really pretty.
Quick, easy makes.
Yes, yeah.
And that's what it's full of. Lots of quick, easy makes. I mean, even the table runner, when I was making that, it did not take very long. So your fat quarters, you can see they get cut in half. And then you cut the strips. So easy to piece together.
Yeah.
This was one she told you to pinking shear them.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could, if you wanted to, add wadding and a backing if you wanted to make it a little bit more heat resistant or whatever, but you don't need to if you're just going to use it for decoration.
I think you just had to keep to the fat quarter things because that's the title of the book. So if you start putting backing on, it's not fat quarters.
Absolutely.
But I would do, and I think because she's put binding around there as well, it couldn't be easy because it's the same method just with more layers of fabric.
Absolutely.
So Thermalam you might find on the website. I think we've still got some of that in stock. Can help protect your table, and then a backing fabric. And then just put your bias binding around all 3 layers.
Yeah, definitely.
You could quilt it as well.
You could quilt it. I've just done some top stitching on it because that's what it suggested. But I mean, I would put this on my table at Christmas because I have a white tablecloth and then a nice little runner in the middle.
Yeah.
I think really
make some placemats to match.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going back to your flower again. I was thinking that would be a nice little gift actually on a card.
It would.
So
Would work really well.
you can even put numbers on the middle of it, couldn't you, if it's a special birthday?
You could. I mean, you could make them Christmas themed, couldn't you? You could.
Yeah.
There's lots of Christmassy buttons you could get. You don't have to do a covered button. You could just do a plain button.
Yeah.
So, and I think if you're someone who's maybe got a lot of friends and you do little gifts for each other, there's lots of nice little things you can do. And I think a homemade gift is so much nicer. It's like someone's really thought about you, isn't it?
Well, it is. You don't make something. You don't make something for somebody that you're not too fond of.
No, very
because
true.
there's your time, there's your love, there's your creativity being put in it. So whenever you receive something that's handmade, whether it's a card or a gift, you know that someone's, like you said, really put thought in.
Absolutely. And even if you're new to sewing, even if you've only just started, I think you can get a lot out of these books, and get some really successful projects out of them. It'd be hard to go wrong on them because they're because they're so clearly explained and well photographed. Then I think you'd go through. I mean, let's have a little look. That's the little baby's bib. Oh, look, there's a little bit of embroidery on it as well. And that's a nice thing to do.
So, I mean, if you do have somebody in the family that's expecting and you want to make something, but you are a beginner, then that's an ideal project, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, they're all quite useful things. I mean, a baby changing mat, everyone needs a portable changing mat, don't they? The little bib, everybody needs them. Sometimes you get these books, bow tie maybe not quite so much, but you know what? A funky Christmas bow tie for someone, for fun, for Christmas, I'd do that. They're all useful. Quite often they're things and you think, oh, but would I use that?
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, I love that one, the memo board.
Yeah.
With some, and that uses 1 fat quarter.
And again,
Stick your projects up on it.
Take the ideas and the techniques. If you wanted to make that bigger, then you can do. Smaller, maybe, if you just want a little memo board somewhere. So I like things you can adapt.
Yes. Notebooks. Always like a notebook to put your, project ideas in.
Yeah.
So, and as I say, that's the little dress that I did. That one just took 2 fat quarters. That was all. Which is, and if you, I mean, I used a little bit of ready-made bias binding, but you could make your own bias binding out of the fat quarter as well. And these big fat quarters, because they were bigger than normal.
70 centimetres wide.
You've got heaps left over. The patterns are for the standard fat quarters, but these are way bigger, so you'd get a lot more projects out of them. I really, really liked these panels. They were lovely, and I loved how the colours all went together.
But they are really big. They're 70 centimetres wide when you have a look. And they're cotton as well, so they're going to wash nicely. Are you a pre-washer?
Do you know what? I'm not. I'm always like just really keen to get on with the project.
Yeah. I think a lot of fabrics nowadays don't actually need it.
Well, yes, me too.
But if you want to, then do. Or if you don't want to pre-wash, give it a blast of steam from the iron. If there is going to be any shrinkage, it'll probably happen with the steam from the iron.
I make lots of things, and I make a lot of clothes, and I don't find they shrink.
No.
So if you wash them to the instructions, fabrics these days, they don't really, do they?
No.
No. Although, unless it's my husband's cashmere jumpers or wool jumpers, which I unfailingly shrink every single time and then have to cut them up to make them into something.
So, serves him right for being so posh then.
At the time that he bought me some really, really lovely, expensive cashmere pyjamas.
Ooh.
And they were gorgeous. They ended up about this big.
Barbie pyjamas.
Yeah. But I used I made lots of brooches actually and gave them to people. I used every single scrap of this cashmere because I was so mortified that I'd absolutely ruined them.
I wouldn't even go. If it doesn't get washed and it can't be dried, then I don't have it. So again, you've got the 2 books. Remember, there's 50 projects in total between these 2 books, and that's only 40 pence a project, which is amazing. Do you want to have a flick through accessories while you're there as well? So
I didn't get time, but I would have liked to have a go at the sun hat because I'm not a big sun worshipper. I can't take the sun very well, and I do always wear a sun hat. So let me show you the pack. That was the scarf. She did hers in blues, whereas I'd done mine in those lovely linen-y ones. Where's the hat? Oh, I liked that with a little bit of embroidery. The pendant was unusual.
Yes.
Yeah. So quite a lot of jewellery, but it's quite interesting to use, fabric in jewellery. I think it's quite nice.
got,
They're great. The little scrunchies, brilliant for
Yeah.
kids. There's the sun hat. I thought that was really nice. That only uses 4 fat quarters in total and some interfacing. That's it.
So I like a sun hat if I'm reading outdoors.
Yes. Well, I just wear one as soon as the sun appears. There's the head wrap that we made. As you can see, lovely clear instructions of how to fold that middle bit, which is only the slightly tricky bit. I'm quite a hat person, actually. There's one for a fascinator, if you were getting a little bit fancy. And I do like, a wedding. I never get to go to weddings anymore. But,
I can't remember the last time I went to a wedding.
But some nice little brooches. I mean, if you've got some little children to make for, children love a medal.
Yes.
Or if you were doing if you're in a craft group and you've got a group of friends, to make little things like that for each other is really nice. One of the ladies that comes to sew with me regularly is in a WI, and she's making everybody little name brooches so they all know each other. And some of these are lovely ideas for that, and you could put initials on them, or that's quite sweet with photos. And again, that kind of goes back to the using old things in a new way so that you can still appreciate them and they're not just stuffed in a drawer. Because there's lots of things you can't bear to throw them away. This one's quite nice if you want to have a little go at some free motion. Good introduction.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We did a bit of free motion yesterday with the with glittery threads.
Oh, fancy.
Very Christmassy, that one. Never finished it.
Well, I always think with free motion, when you start, it's a little bit, such a different feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
To normal sewing.
Yes.
So this is nice because it's not expecting anything too precise. It's a little bit crazy. So it's okay if it doesn't come out perfectly the first time. It's a good way of practicing it, I think.
I like free motion that looks scribbly.
Yes, I do.
I know you can be incredibly precise with it. If you have a look on Pinterest, there are some amazing, they look like paintings or sketches that have all been done with thread.
Oh, ever so clever, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's quite nice. And so easy. Big old chunky bangles. And just to cover them in fabric. Gives it a new look. You can match them all to your outfits, can't you? If you've made one of the nice dresses that you're going to demonstrate. You do a little bangle.
We did some dressmaking next.
Yes.
Hi Sarah, she says, is thermal am okay for oven gloves? Yes, it is. Shelley says, morning Debbie, wet here today, so I'm spending the morning watching you. Love your top, did you make it? I didn't, Shelley, but I have made one very similar.
I made my top.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
That's really lovely.
Thank you.
Dawn says, round tablecloths are difficult to make. I'm thinking of a kiss shape with a square in the middle. Any ideas using fat quarters? That's a nice idea, actually, isn't it? So
sort of a, yes. Well, you could just attach the fat, or like with this one where you've cut the fat quarters in half and then you can put them back together in different ways.
Yeah.
So not too much cutting.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Dawn. Keep them coming, and we want to see pictures as well. Let me just give you a reminder of the 2 panels that we have. These are 4 massive fat quarters. They measure 70 centimetres by 50 centimetres. So this is Paisley marmalade.
They're almost like a fat quarter and a half, aren't they?
They are, aren't they? They're massive. And again, these are exclusive to Sewing Street, so you won't get those anywhere else. And then we have the one that I think looks a little bit retro. So this has got teacups and kitchen accoutrements on it. It's just a retro kind of design, isn't it?
But they look really nice
not
colours,
allowed
actually.
coffee in here.
Well, if you wanted that would work really nicely for this in the table runner, in a more everyday design for your kitchen table.
Well, you've got enough. You could make your table runner, go for a couple, and then there's your oven gloves and your tea cosies and something to put over your Kenwood chef. So you could coordinate your whole kitchen with kitchen stuff. Yeah. And again, that's £14.99, and you've got loads of fabric there. It is cotton.
9 o'clock.
And I wouldn't. Oh, it's 9 o'clock apparently. Did you hear that? We've got a clock that talks, so that wasn't my Siri, that was our clock. So, have somebody set the alarm? I'm finishing at 9 o'clock, I'm going to put the kettle on. Oh, well, if it's 9 o'clock, we need to go to a break and then on to the next hour, don't we? So you're going to be back again at 10.
I am, to show you the lovely creative grid ruler.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's brand new, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so we shall look forward to that. So, because the clock's told us, we'll have a quick break. And I'll see you again with a bit more dressmaking and patterns in a couple of minutes.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great,
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
and it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and gemporia.com.
To see me back. My favourite piece of kit with the sewing is the seam ripper. Hello, I'm Janice from Birmingham. I specialise in dressmaking. I used to run a children's shop and I love making children's clothes. My mother encouraged me to sew from an early age. When we were young, we did dressmaking in school. My claim to fame was the sewing quarter. But I'm now making also jumpsuits for ladies and men of all shapes and sizes, and it seems to be going for the festivals around the country. See you on the show!
Hello there, I'm Debbie Shaw, and I would love you to join me on the first Monday of every single month for Sewing Street Surgery. Now, this is a dedicated hour where I answer your questions, and that could be questions about techniques, it could be questions about tools, it could be questions about new products, or maybe something that you've seen that you just don't understand. There's a lot of questions about tensions on sewing machines, and there's a lot of questions about working with different weights of fabrics. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask me, the easiest way to bring a question over to us is to go to our Facebook page and post your question on there. I will collate all of those questions throughout the week. If we need any new products for you, or if we need any new demonstrations, those will all be worked on leading up to that first Monday of the month. So do join me, Debbie Shaw, on Sewing Street Surgery on the first Monday.
Christmas is going to be here before we know it, and as with every year, we want to make sure that we get our makes ready in time for gifting on the big day or for decorations in the lead up. We're here to help with our Christmas make shows, starting with our 3-day event on Friday the 31st of July until Sunday the 2nd of August, and we'll be live for 5 hours each day too. Expect lots of festival quilting, FPP, dressmaking and needle felting to make all your decorations, advent calendars, cushion covers and so much more. We'll have our expert tutorials from some of our favourite guest designers and a fabulous competition exclusively for our Sewing Street family. Keep your eyes peeled on our email newsletter, Facebook and Instagram for more details in the run-up. And don't forget to tune in from 8 AM to 1 PM on Friday the 31st of July until Sunday the 2nd of August on Freeview Channel 74, Sky 670 or on our YouTube channel.
Hello there, welcome back again. Right, we're going to do a little bit of dressmaking in this one. We're going to talk a lot about dressmaking. If you've got any dressmaking questions, do come and answer them. I've got Little Girl's pattern I've only just cut out, so we'll start from scratch and we probably won't get too far with it, but we'll have an idea of the way things work anyway. So if you are new, then do stay with us. Or if you've got any hints and tips of your own that you'd like to share, maybe you've discovered a quick way of doing something or an easy way of doing something, then drop us an email or come through on our Facebook page. But we've got lots of patterns, lots of fabric to show you first of all. So let's take a look at a bag. I know it's not dressmaking, but we don't have very many of these left. So we thought, while we're doing patterns, we may as well show you this one as well. So this is your Boho Flowers bag kit. We only have 2 left. So if you've seen it before, if you like to get a hold of it, then do be quick. Have a quick look if you want to see it demonstrated briefly on our YouTube channel. Go to Sewing Street on YouTube, and it was on the 10th of July, and with Fiona. So this is the fabric, which is a really nice heavy weight of like canvas. I think there's a story behind this, isn't it? Because I did watch a little bit of the show, but I can't remember what it was. So have a look on the 10th. But literally everything that you need in here. You've got your webbing for the straps, and your zip is included, and you have your hardware. Lovely packaging as well, quite eco-friendly. And then your instructions in here as well, which are very clear and easy to understand. So that, again, £29.99 is your price there. And that's your boho bag. But we honestly have got not very many left. Oh, what's that? Oh, a bit about the fabric. It's a hand batik block printed in indigo and 100% cotton by Hmong artisans, a hill tribe on the borders of Vietnam and China, a region renowned for its textile printing and dyeing. Please note that the small print floors are a normal feature of a hand block. Oh, so it's all hand printed. That's right. I knew there was a story. There you go. Right, so, and it's a lovely feeling of the fabric as well. It's very textured. It's almost got like a, you know what bubble crepe feels like? It's that kind of feeling. So, or like if you've ever seen textured bamboo fabric, that kind of fabric is really lovely. An indigo colour, really on trend as well. Very stylish. But again, only 2 left of that one. Laura from Sew Different brings you patterns that are easy to sew, but are a little bit different. I told you my daughter's gone dressmaking mad. I'm going to get to the sewing machine later. She actually made one of Laura's jackets yesterday. We don't have it on the show, but it's got really unusual pockets. And I think you'll find that with a lot of her designs. There's something a little bit quirky, there's something a little bit different about them, but they are very easy to make. So this one is the panel tee, and you can make it into the dress as well. So that's a little bit short for me, but I think it's one of those designs that you'd easily be able to lengthen. Your sizes are 8 through to 26. So on the bust size of the smallest is 84 centimetres. Or 33 inches, and that takes you up to the largest size on the bust, which is 128 or 50¼ inches. So those are the sizes that you need to go by, not your regular dress size. So that's £16.99. All of the information that you need is there on the back, and there should be a photograph of that on the website. We normally do that so you can see how much fabric you need to buy and all that kind of thing. If you've got 150 wide, then you'll need, so my eyesight's not very good. Oh, because it's all different colour. Oh, have a look on the website because it lists all of the different fabrics that you're going to need because you've got different coloured panels. This one is the colour block dress. So again, you've got the different coloured panels. You could make that all in one colour if you wanted to. Same sizes available, so 33 inches on the smallest up to 50¼ on the largest size of the bust. And again, that's £16.99. Laura's pattern paper is really nice as well. It's not the tissue paper patterns. It's actually a nice quality. And what she does do is colour coordinate all of the sizes, so when you're cutting out the different pattern sizes, you've got a different colour. With tissue paper patterns, you tend to find dots and dashes of different lengths that you need to follow. This one's actually quite easy, but sometimes, particularly in these kind of areas, it can be difficult when you've got everything in the same colour to cut out the correct size. So Laura does it all in colours so that you can identify them easily. Laura and her mate Tree, we're here on the 9th of March demonstrating this one. Oh, we're down to 4 now, only 4 left of those. Need to be quick for that one. And then finally we have the, oh, that's that one, isn't it, actually? Can't see it, can you? It's behind here, isn't it? There you go. So that's it in the different coloured denims, which we do. I've only got 2 coloured, we've got denims on the show. Yes, have a look on the website for those, but that's a nice weight. The canvas that we have would be a good weight for this. We've also got some tweedy fabrics on the show as well, or the textured linen that you find on the website is perfect for this type of dress. So it's a nice trans-seasonal kind of dress. And then finally we've got the So Different coat. Simple to make coat. You can make it a lightweight coat for the summertime, you can make it a more heavyweight coat for the wintertime, depending again on what type of fabric you want to use. So something like this, I think, oh, that's going to send your eyes funny, isn't it? With the herringbone, I think would be a really nice classic autumn winter type of coat. It's not lined, so it's not no, it's not going to keep you warm if it's snowing and everything outside when it's freezing. But you layer up then, don't you? Put it over a jumper. Or that would be nice for an evening coat. Or you could have a casual coat. So lots of fabrics available for you, but I'd go a little bit heavier weight. You could do a lightweight cotton, but I'd go a little bit heavier weight if you wanted to order those. All right, so let's move those there. Shall we show you these actually? Because these are perfect for the patterns from Laura that you've just seen. So this is the medium denim. This is 140 wide, so I'll just show you what you're actually getting. It's 8-ounce denim, half a metre by 140, and that's £4.99. This is by the half metre, so if you needed a metre, it'll come in 1 piece. If you needed 2 metres, then order 4 units and they'll all come in 1 long piece. And not just for dressmaking, nice for bags as well. I made, I think I told you before, I made a cover for a footstool using 3 different shades of denim, hand sewn into tumbling blocks with English paper piece. Looks really nice. So that's the medium denim. We also have the light denim. So same size, 140 wide, half a metre in length. But they do go nicely together. So maybe making trousers, skirts, that kind of thing. It's not too heavy a weight of a denim to wear, but it's not lightweight and see-through. It's not like a chambray. £4.99 again. That's the light one, half a metre. And then we have these. We've got a bit of tweed going on here. So this is the hunter's tweed. It's got a very pale pink in the weave, which makes it a pretty tweed, if that makes sense. 140 wide again. Really nice drape, and it's not too itchy. Sometimes tweeds can be a little bit itchy, but this has got a nice softness to it. So if you're making an underlined jacket and this is going to touch your skin at any point, it's not scratchy. So 70% wool, but it has got polyester in it as well. So a mixture with polyester in any fabric makes it long lasting, prevents it from shrinking. The wool element means that it's wickable, it's breathable. So you've got the benefits of both there. And that's £8.99 again for half a metre. That'd make a nice skirt actually, wouldn't it? I could actually get a knee-length pencil skirt out of that. Just a half metre. Right, and then we've got a bit of glam. How's that? This is a lovely deep rich colour, but look at the sparkle you have from the lurex that runs through it. A Manhattan tweed, I don't know why. Maybe it's the trend in Manhattan. £8.99 price there. I think if you're making a coat or a jacket for a Christmas occasion or New Year's parties and things like that, or any kind of occasion, I wouldn't normally go and buy a coat, a special occasion coat, because they tend to be a lot of money, but you could easily make one. So I wouldn't use this as my everyday, but as a special occasion coat or a jacket, or again, even a skirt would look nice in that, wouldn't it? Again, it's £8.99 for your half metre. And that's that. Actually, the selvage is quite nice on that as well, because it's fluffy. So you could use, that's a bit Chanel, isn't it? We had a question from Emma. Morning, Emma. Oh, she's never done any dressmaking before. Okay. But she wants to make a daughter a skirt. That's a good place to start. No idea how to add elastic. You have to stretch it. So do you just sew it on or do you stretch it? The point of elastic is that it stretches. So it's an idea to stretch it as, we'll do it, shall we? Shall we do it in a bit? Because we had some elastic in the last show. So we'll have a go, just sewing a bit of elastic. So are you sewing elastic into a channel or are you just using the elastic as the waistband? Because that's really easy as well. We've got loads, we've got loads of a ballet movement there, look. Right, so we have a really lovely skirt. Kim made one very similar to this. She made a half circle skirt over the weekend. She got mad dressmaking, honestly. 3 outfits over the weekend. But this is a full circle. In fact, we've got one, haven't we? I'll show you. For £9.99. So this is really, really easy to make. And if you're making this for a child, now this isn't a child's pattern, but this is a great style for a child's skirt if you are a beginner sewer. There's no pockets in it or anything like that. There's no zips. So it's just got elastic around the waistband and a really floaty fabric would look amazing. So have a look at the viscoses that we have on the website for the show. That would be ideal. But you do need a lot of fabric. But although these are lovely. I don't know if we've still got these on the website. Although it's a full circle, so that's half of it, it's not cut out of one massive big circle. It's actually cut in 2 halves. So if you go for a non-directional print on your fabric, you can really make the most of it. Actually, it doesn't have elastic. It's got a zip on it. Sorry, I do apologise. But you could do it with elastic around the waist. Cut the waist a little bit bigger and then put some elastic around. That makes it even easier. But because most of the circle is cut on the bias, because of the nature of cutting a circle, it just folds. It hangs beautifully. And it's quite flattering as well, isn't it? This is another one. Whoop. There we go. Janice was demonstrating this one in the show, so it's not quite finished yet. But this was on the 11th of July. So if you have a look on our YouTube channel, what size did she do on this? If I look at these, I shall maybe remember. I think it was a 14 she was making with these. But again, this is viscose fabric, so a fabric with a drape. If it's too stiff a cotton, it's going to stand out a little bit. But maybe that's what you like. Maybe you're going to go all 1950s with petticoats underneath it. That'd look very stylish, wouldn't it? Okay, so that's that one. Size-wise, again, this one will go from... what does it give you a bust measurement? I had that when I first started... not first started sewing, because that was hundreds of years ago, but started as a profession. I was making some chair covers for a DVD, actually, if you remember those. That was a long time ago. And I thought I like to have a look what other people are doing, just so that I'm not doing the same. Because, you know, lots of people come up with the same idea and then everyone thinks they're copying each other. And I actually bought a pattern for a chair cover, and the first thing it said was measure the bust size. And I've never found a chair with a bust. Keep looking, it doesn't happen. So anyway, your sizes will go on the waist from 23 inches all the way through to 37 inches. Sizes tend to go up in half-inch increments. So if you're larger than a 37, you can just increase the size. I wouldn't go massively bigger, but you can just put an extra ½ inch on, or maybe an inch on, so you can go up to maybe a 40-inch bust on that. It gives you a hip measurement. It's a full circle. It doesn't need a hip measurement. Copy and paste. So those are your sizes anyway. So it's only the waist and the length that's important on that one. We've got a couple of tops. So a couple of different sizes in this one. So we have the 6 to 14, or you can go for the 14 to 22. I'll give you the measurements because I keep saying don't go by your dress size, go by your measurements because they do tend to vary. So smallest size, you'll find these on the flap on the inside at the back. The bust size on the smallest is 30.5 inches on this one, taking you up to 44 inches on the largest size. So, oh no, I'm going up to 14, aren't I? Sorry. Up to 36. So if you're between 30.5 and 36, you go for this size. That's £9.99. The second one will overlap slightly, I think. So we're 14 as the smallest. So again, your 14 is 36 up to 44 on the size 22. And again, if you have a look on the website, it should actually show you a photo of the back of the packaging so you can see exactly how much your fabric you're going to need to make it. Now, this was on 5 days ago with Faye and Vix. So again, if you have a look on YouTube, put all the shows on YouTube, so you should be able to watch any of them back again. If you subscribe, it doesn't cost anything, but if you subscribe and then click on the little bell icon, you'll get a notification every time there's a new video going onto our YouTube channel. So give us a like, give us a subscribe, ring your bell, and you'll get a notification every day. So those are those two. They're each at £9.99. This kimono is a nice style as well. Look, I love the drape. Combinations of plain and patterned, you do those in any combination you like. Comfortable to wear, doesn't have inset sleeves, so that's going to be really easy if you're a beginner. Bit of bias cutting there so you get the drape. This one will go from, this is extra small to, right, so size wise on this one, let's have a look, where are you? Like it's going to answer me. 29.5 through to 48. On the bust size, but again it is going to be one of those designs that's reasonably easy to increase or decrease if you wanted to, because it's not tight fitting and there's no closures on here, there's no belts or belt loops or buttons or zips or darts or anything like that. That again is another really simple project for a beginner, and I would, that one's nice, that one with the navy, those two go nice together. Wanted a contrast. Or you've got the pale mint, that's nice and summery. That's the one that was used on the sample that's on the mannequin. These are all viscose. We are recommended batik, challis, crepe black satin, back satin, crepe de chine, double georgette, jacquard, silky types, velvet, soft brocade, lightweight denim, linen types, flouncing lace, extra fabric needed to match the black. All right, okay. So add a little bit extra if you've got pattern matching to do there. So the viscose is, they call it a semi-synthetic because it comes from the bark of trees, so it's made from wood pulp. So that aspect is natural, but it does go through a chemical process, which gives it its semi-synthetic name. So it's breathable, it's lightweight, it has a lovely drape and coolness. So you've got a lot of the same qualities that you find with cotton, but finer in fabric. So for dressmaking, this is absolutely perfect. If you love this though and you want to multi-order, we've only got 4.5 meters left. So that's 9 units if you wanted to order the lot, you can do. It's only £7.99. But for blouses, for anything that needs a drape, so maybe gathered skirts that you want to hang, if you've got something maybe with puff sleeves or bell sleeves, but it's the drape of viscose that I love. It's a really beautiful fabric. And £7.99 for half metre is very good. Love the colours on that one as well. Pretty. But it's fluid. You'll need an extension table or support for your fabric when you're working with fabrics like this because it's so liquid it tends to pour off the table. So this is the one that we have on the mannequin. It's parrots, but they look like phoenixes, we were saying the other day. Really gorgeous colours. And again, it's viscose. So you've got the drape there as well. Got a bit of thread on me, look. Honestly. And again, that's £7.99. My little granddaughter, who's going to be 3 in a couple of weeks, was over a couple of weeks ago, and she was playing in the living room, and she picked a thread up off the sofa and just went, "That's Grandma's." We're going tropical. Well, they're lilies, aren't they? Or are they irises? But I think the colours look tropical to me. Oh, I'm thinking bongo drums on a beach, white sands, beach huts with straw roofs. Haven't been anywhere like that for a long time. £7.99 is your price there. It's really cool. It's a really lovely fabric. I saw somewhere, you know, these like big goggle things that you can get where you can do virtual games and stuff like that. They were doing holidays in them. So you could actually, not sunbathing on a beach holidays, because that wouldn't work, but sightseeing holidays. And I just thought, what a lovely idea. I mean, I would imagine they're really expensive, but not as expensive as travelling halfway around the world. But you could actually virtually go and have a look around cities, and so it's just a really lovely idea. I could do a lot of travelling now. You could do travelling in your break, couldn't you? I'm going to make, or start to make, eventually, the little girl's dress out of this viscose. Isn't that such a pretty colour? That's really summery. That's a perfect summer weight for a blouse. Again, it's viscose, and it's just £7.99. And then finally, with the viscoses, we have the navy. So viscose you're not going to use for quilting, and I wouldn't use it for homewares. This is dressmaking, but it's just gorgeous for dressmaking. And again, it's only £7.99. Got more patterns for you. We've got kids, we've got a dress, and we've got more kids. So this is the dress. This is a new look easy 2-hour dress, this one. So again, perfect if you're a beginner. You don't have to make it in 2 hours. It's not a race. You don't have to challenge yourself. We've only got 3 of these left now. They're going quickly. Really quick on your sizes again. The 34 inches on the 8 up to 44 inches on the size 18. But again, don't go by dress size, go by measurements. That's £7.99. So we're going to be doing hints and tips with dressmaking. So if you've got any questions, again, come and let me know. So let me see who's on Facebook quickly before we look at the kids. Nobody. Okay. Or you can email studio@sewingstreet.com. So we'll have a look at, let's have a look at this one, because I've got this one here as well. This is a blouse and skirt. I used to have a skirt like that. In fact, I think one of my first school skirts was a tartan version of this one. So there's the top and the skirt on the pattern. Isn't that lovely? It's even got adjustable buttonholes on the back, so when they grow a little bit, you can lengthen them. Button up the front, and we've got pockets in there as well, somewhere to keep your hanky. And then you've got the matching little blouse as well. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's got pin tucks at the front. Size-wise for this one, you go for heights with children. 26.5 for a toddler. And 50 inches, they say, for an 8-year-old, but of course kids are going to vary an awful lot. That's really pretty. That could be either something to wear to school if they don't wear uniforms, to something really special occasion outfit, couldn't it? That's gorgeous. Oh, and it's got one-touch fastening, didn't even realise. That's easy. That's £7.99. And then the last one is this one. Age-wise or height-wise, they're saying 6 to 11, so that's 160. Oh no, that's how much fabric you need. Where's the heights on that? Just says 6 to 11. Fancy that. So 116 it's in, oh yeah, okay, it's in centimetres. 116 centimetres in height for the smallest one and 146 for the largest size of that one. And there's a couple of different styles. There's a one with a frill around the front. They've both got different types of pockets. So this one's got inseam pockets and this one's got patch pockets. No reason why you can't put the patch pockets on this one if you prefer and mix things around a little bit like that. But we'll have a go at making this one up. We have got some fabrics for you as well. And have a look at those. Have a quick flick through. So recommending cotton, but I'm going to have a go with viscose on this one. Why not? So this is it's a print that looks like ticking, but it's not actual ticking. So if you wanted to order, it's WKLJ89, pale blue, 100% cotton, and this is by the ½ metre. At £3.99. It's a poplin, so poplins are normally wider in length and they're a little bit finer. The threads are finer than quilting cotton. So you get more of a smoothness with the poplin, so again perfect for dressmaking. No reason why you couldn't use that for a bag or a lining of a bag. I would put some interfacing or stabiliser onto the wrong side. Then we've got anchors. Alan's been busy making things with his anchor fabric he was showing yesterday. This is very pretty and fresh. MELJ58. I'm thinking shirts, shorts, neckerchiefs, holiday outfits. I think we did buy this in initially because we had some boys' shorts in a book that we sold out of really quickly and I never got around to making them. So they're all cut out and ready to go, but they just never went. So that's, again, it's poplin. Nice weight, easy to care for, easy to wash. Dries quickly, 100% cotton. Great dressmaking, 140 wide. If you wanted to mix a couple together, we're staying with our nautical theme with sailboats. Again, they're all 140 wide if they're poplin. And that's £4.99 again. It says on denim, it's on denim colour. Denim's a twill, so it has a diagonal weave to it, but it is made with 2 different coloured threads. So this is a denim type of colour, and it's made with the 2 different coloured threads. So that's why it says denim, but it's not actual denim fabric per se. We've got pink bunnies. This is loads of fun, isn't it? Babies, little girls, little boys. Again, it's 100% cotton. It's a really soft, lovely quality cotton as well. So this could be a cushion covers, pillowcases, quilts, cots, curtain, whatever you want. Again, £4.99. Got 3 colours here. So we've got the pink. We have a bit of duck egg going on here. That's a nice colour, isn't it? And then finally, so again, that's £4.99. And finally, bunny-wise, we have a lovely mustard colour. We're calling it ochre. And again, that's £4.99. I think these stars are nice for a nursery. Again, they're poplin, so they're a dressmaking weight, but there's no reason why you couldn't make a pair of curtains out of it. It's just fine. The difference between poplin and quilter's cotton is the weave. This is a tighter weave with a finer thread, which gives it a smoothness and sometimes a little bit of a sheen, but it also gives you drape, but you can quilt with it if you want. Quilting cotton has a little bit of a looser weave because a lot of quilters like to hand sew and it makes it easier to slip a needle through there, if you were wondering. We've got the pale pink version of the stars as well. Again, that's another poplin. And then we've got a couple of checks. So this is the navy, which is QIL 798. And it's a proper check, a proper woven check, so it's a gingham. Oh, bit of cramp. I like a woven check because you can trust a woven check to be straight. Sometimes with checks that are printed, you can't guarantee that you can cut exactly along the line and it's going to be straight. It's just the way it happens, but with weave you can. So if it's important to, like if I'm smocking, I do a lot of smocking with check fabric because it's already pre-marked for you. So you know that every one of these, if that's an inch square, every one of them is going to be exactly an inch square. And you know that if you're cutting along this, you're cutting along either the warp or the weft, because that is the warp or the weft in the 2 colours. So that's why I like it. I've got the yellow one as well. Let me get the red one. free with your sewing machine. That's a sunshine colour, isn't it? That's bright and happy and uplifting. That would make a lovely little girl's dress. Or a boy's shirt. $3.99 again for your half metre, and it is 140 wide, so you've got a good width on that too. Right. Shall we do a bit of sewing? Shall we do that? Shall we? Shall we do a bit of sewing? Okay. That was a lot of talk, wasn't it? I do go on sometimes. Right. So we'll see how far we get, but we'll have a little bit of a itchy nose again. I had an itchy nose on Saturday. Never had the argument. People were saying, well, you're going to have a... No, I don't argue. Right, when you are dressmaking, again, always go by your measurements, not by your dress size, because they're going to vary quite a bit. I'm a size 12 and I've made a dress in a size 22 before now because the measurements fit. So, just be aware of that. With children's clothing, you tend to go by the height, and it's the chest measurement, which is right around the centre of the chest. If you're measuring yourself, you measure your bust at your high bust, which is underneath your arms. So don't go for the fullest part of the bust, don't go underneath the bust. Your bust measurement is going to be around here. And then you need to look at the cup size, because most traditional dressmaking patterns are made for a B cup. Most women aren't. So you may need to adjust in that respect. But if you're buying a dress, and maybe you're pear-shaped, so your hips are one size, maybe your hips are a size 18 and your top is a size 14, go for that size 14, because it's easier to adjust a hip size on a dress than it is to adjust a bust size on a dress. So you may need to increase the cup of the bust. But if you think, well, I'll just go for a bigger size, it'll be fine because the measurements are right on that one. You'll find if you go for a bigger size, the shoulders aren't going to fit you. The neckline isn't going to fit properly, and it's nigh impossible to adjust all of that. So always go by your bust size if you're buying a dress. But this is kids, so that's not important. And this is a great way to start dressmaking as well, because with children's clothes, you don't have darts, because they haven't got the shape. And there's very few fastenings normally on children's clothing, so it's a good way to start. Take out your pattern. So you've had a look at the instructions. So have a good old read through these first of all. And I'd always suggest you do that when you're using a different brand of clothing, because you need to take notice of your seam allowance. Seam allowances can vary from one garment to another, or one manufacturer from another. You'll see on your instructions fabric placement. So haven't got that one out. How to arrange the pattern pieces on your fabric to make the most of your fabric. It'll say either on your instructions or your pattern, or both of them, how much fabric you're going to need. So you can always order a little bit more to be on the safe side, but if you're on a budget and you want to know exactly the amount of fabric they're going to use and the types of fabric they're going to use, when you've been through all of that, I roughly cut out my pattern pieces that I need. And these are identified generally by numbers. So with this little dress, I'm going to start making up A. So all of the pattern pieces that have A on them, I need to cut out. These are for both of them. There are some pieces that are just for A, like this one. That's for the straps. And some are for both. The pocket is just for A, because B has the inseam pocket. And I roughly cut them out, and then I'll iron them. And I think it is really important to iron your pattern pieces, because these pieces go together like a jigsaw. Not so much with the child's outfit, to be honest. You don't need to be as accurate. But if you're making something that has, if your pattern's got a little crease in it like that, and then you cut that out, and then when you pull it open, there's actually about ½ an inch of pattern that was tied up in the pleat. So my fabric piece is going to be ½ an inch too small. So I think it's really important to iron all of these out. Then you're going to transfer any markings onto your fabric. So let's get marking up. And there are different ways you can do that. You'll tend to find that people who've been dressmaking for a while or are trained in dressmaking use tailor's tacks. I don't. I'll use a fabric marker or just pins, depending on how many marks I need to do. So let's open this up. A lot of fabric here, which is great. And normally I iron the fabric as well for the same reason. I want my pieces to be accurate. Now I'm going to turn this around towards me. So the selvage is down the side. Don't use your selvage, make sure your pattern's not over that. Your selvage sometimes is a different weave of fabric. It's on the sides of the roll as the fabric's being made and dyed, and it's a tighter weave, particularly on fine fabrics, because the hooks need to go through this to stretch it over the roll as it's being dyed. That's what all the holes are down the side. So we don't use that, but it is an indication of which way around your fabric is, because a lot of pattern pieces, this one doesn't, they'll have an arrow on them, and that's the grain of the fabric. So you need to know which way around your fabric is. I haven't tried it with this one, but if you haven't got a selvage on your fabric, you can tell which one's which by the sound it makes when you pull it. Normally the weft, which is the one that goes across, is a little bit higher in pitch than the warp. Have a play with it. It works. So anyway, most fabrics have got selvages on them anyway, so you know which way around they're going to go. When you're cutting out two pattern pieces, fold your fabrics wrong sides together. So if I've just got one layer here, I haven't got a right and a wrong side on this one, but you'll fold over this way. And this is how you can really make the most of your fabric. So centre back fold, straight grain. So this means this part goes on fold, that's the fold. Straight grain is the one that goes up and down parallel to your selvage. So I can now start kind of rearranging my fabric so I can make the most of the pattern. So if I cut that out there, I've got all this spare, and that's a bit of a waste, isn't it? So I can really kind of move that over and make the most of it. Then we'll have some pins in. And it's telling me I need to cut two. Oh, I need to cut two. So let's do that, because this dress has a facing. So just make sure that my fabric cut through all of those layers isn't folded anywhere. Then we'll have some pins. And there. Like that. Now these are the marks that you need to transfer, because these are the pieces that will gauge where the next pattern piece is going to go. So I like to, so I'm just reaching over to find a pen. Oh, doing that ballet move again. For me, I can put a pin through there, all the way through, straight down and upright. And then I can just move that back and put a little dot where the dot's going to be. And I can do that through all layers. You can do this after the piece has been cut out. If it's a dot, then I may put, well, I will put lots and lots of dotted lines all the way down it, so I know exactly where I'm going to cut. If it's a dot, I would use chalk to mark it. These kind of marks are inside the seam allowance, so on those occasions I'd use a pen. But if you want to use tailor's tack, then that's fine, that's entirely up to you. And then just cut this. It's really important that you cut accurately, so take your time, because as I said before, dressmaking is like putting together pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. They're all designed to match perfectly. So if you are even 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch out here, then your next pattern piece isn't going to match. So really important that you take your time when you're cutting out. Okay, we got any more questions? Because in 15 minutes, we're not going to have time to actually make up the whole thing. So why am I on that? So I don't want you. I'm looking for your Facebook comments. I'm not picking up my emails, or as somebody suggested the other day, being on Tinder. I don't do that. Oh, Margaret, just found your channel. I'm loving it. Could you do a pattern for a little boy's shirt around age 8? We did have, no, it was in a book actually. It wasn't a pattern. I don't know if I have any on the website, but I shall put that forward as a suggestion. Right, so that's the top, that's the back, sorry, 2 pieces there. I like to leave all my pattern pieces pinned to the fabric so I can identify them. Again, not so difficult, I've just wafted that away. Not so difficult on a child's outfit because there aren't that many pieces. But if you're putting together lots of unusual shape pieces, like with Laura's dresses, it's easier to identify them if you have if you've got the pattern pieces on them. I've just wafted my pattern away, just bear with me. Okay, so 2 pieces again. So make this nice and flat. That really needs ironing before we do it. Nice large area as well when you're cutting, so that you can lay things out and keep them flat. Now the front doesn't need to be on the fold because it's got buttons down the front. So again, plenty of pins in here. Or you could use your 404 spray actually. You to spray your pattern pieces down, that would work. But these pins are a £2 saving, so may as well. And I know they're not dressmaking pins, but I like to use those. Right, and then we'll cut around this piece. So this is actually the placket. That section, there's one on each side of the front will need interfacing, which I don't have. So you just cut a piece of interfacing and place it over that bit. That's all in the instructions. Ooh, that wasn't very straight. You'll need a good sharp pair of dressmaking scissors as well for making these. But it is a very simple dress. In fact, what I'll do, I'll whip the one off the little mannequin in a second and I'll show you. Because we're not going to get it finished. And then just around here. And again, nice and accurate all around there. Chop those off for John's scrap bag. So we need 2 of those. We'll need the straps. Let's just do the top bit. We'll get round to finishing that bit, I reckon. So my straps, I will need 4. I think this is one of those styles as well. I remember saying to Janice when she was making it in the show. So although I don't get to finish this in this show, it is on YouTube. It's a nice summer dress because it's a little pinafore, but with a t-shirt underneath it, and then maybe a cardigan over the top. It is something that your kids can wear all the way through the winter as well. Got rather a lot of fabric here. Right, and I'm trying to make the most of it because I don't like to waste stuff. So let's fold you there. And that will do. And then in half that way. Now because these are just straps, then, and they're just rectangles, sorry, you could use your rotary cutter and ruler for this one, if you have them. Make sure that's nice and flat. Or you could even use ribbon instead. You don't have to go along with the pattern. Patterns are just a guideline for you. They're the skeleton, the structure behind whatever it is you're making, but there's no reason why you can't change things up. If you wanted to put square patch pockets on this, then you could have squares and put patch pockets. I kind of like the inseam pocket, actually. I like inseam pockets. And they're very easy to do. But we'll just make up the top. Love that sound. And I'm doing the smallest one, so that's there. Right, so we'll make that at first. There's a bit of gathering to do on here as well. With the gathers, I tend to sew in 2 rows because it helps everything to sit nice and flat as I'm gathering them up. Now this one, I turn inside out. So I'm using my new machine. Oh, I've just pulled that out. That's my foot pedal. Although you don't need a foot pedal with this machine. It is there. Come here. Oh, right. So these are sewn into tubes. I'll give it a press in just a second with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And again, do check that on your pattern before you start sewing because some of them vary. To help you sew in a straight line, there is, on your throat plate, you'll have a 5/8 of an inch marking. So just use that as a guide, or you can put an elastic band around the bed of the machine. That sometimes helps. Or a bit of masking tape on there could help as well. So just piece these together. It's a nice quiet machine, this one, isn't it? Then we'll turn all of these tubes the right side out and just give them a quick press, and I'll show you how we put the top together. So, 2 more. It's got 4 straps on it because they tie at the top. On this style anyhow. Lovely fabric to work with, so floaty and summery. There we go. I hope Kim's going to like this machine. What's not to? It's fast, it's quiet, it's reliable, it's got a 2-year warranty, it's got loads of feet with it. We'll have a look at that at 11 o'clock. If you've got any questions about the machine, maybe you've got it already, then come on through at 11 o'clock with those. We're going to talk a little bit about maintenance as well and how to clean your machine and what not to do with your machine. Right, so we'll turn these the right side out and give them a press. Oh, something to turn with. Normally use a knitting needle, but let's use a pen. I do have some of those prim turning things at home. Is it prim or is it clover? One or the other. But we just use a pen for now and just pull that through. Oh, it may be a while. Let's snip that off as well. Oh, thank you. Love working here. So if you're using the turn, it is a prim one, you need to sew across the end. Didn't know we've got these. And then let's get the big one. Come on, out you get. Talking to my tools now. Then, how do we do that? I can't remember. That goes in there, doesn't it? So put the big tube inside there. That's it. And then we poke that in there. And that comes out there. But you will need to sew the ends over. But I think you should anyway, to be honest. That's me not reading the instructions properly. So let's sew the end of that. And snip. And that one. And snip. And this one. And snip. Then we'll need to give them a press. So tubing, it's quite a quick dress, this one as well. And although it's got buttons on the front, they are very easy to fit, so don't worry about that. That's so quick, isn't it? Pop it, whoops, pop in there. You come, so we've got all 4 of those. And again, then we'll need to iron them. You could probably make this in a couple of hours. Not that you need a dress in a hurry or anything, but it is quite a quick little project, even with the cutting out and everything. Let's iron those. And then we'll just put the top piece together. We'll need to poke that out a little bit more. Always have your iron on standby. Oh, I don't normally have steam, but there we go, it's pouring out. Just to set the seams. So the difference it makes just with an iron. Come on out. Do that later. Let's roll that over a little bit. We've got some patchwork coming up in the next hour, by the way. We've got a brand new ruler from Creative Kids. Creative Kids? Grids, Deborah, grids. Now there are marks on the pattern as to where to put your straps as well, which are here, and it says strap. So again, we can transfer the mark, and on that side too. Let's open this up. In fact, we've got 2 pieces there, haven't we? So just quickly, because we're running out of time and I don't want to show you the other dress. You're going to sew your straps facing in over the marks, raw edge together. That one goes on top, like so. So you'll sew all around that bit, and then do the same with the, sorry, that's the back. You do the same with the front pieces. So again, you've got to mark where the strap's going to go. So this comes in 2 pieces because this is where the button's going to go. But you'll do the same thing again. I've lost a piece. So that goes facing down there. That faces down there. And then that goes on there. And let me show you on the finished one so that you get an idea, because we're always out of time, aren't we? So your interfacing goes down the front bit here. That's where the buttons are. That just makes it that little bit stronger. Because you've got the 2 pieces for the front and the back, it kind of faces itself. So this is where straps are sewn inside. Turn the whole thing the right side out. The skirt part is gathered, and you can gather that to make it perfect size to go around the top. So make up the top first before you start gathering, so you can make sure that they're the right size. And then the top is sewn to the skirt right sides together all the way around on one side, so it's just the outer layer sewn to the skirt, and then this is hand sewn. So you fold under the edge and press it, and then just do a quick slip stitch across the inside. But it gives you a really nice, neat finish on the inside of the dress. It means that you don't see any raw edges there at all. There's a placket all the way down the front here, which is the bit that's folded over. So this is the bit that would have the interfacing on, and that's going to make this little bit of fabric stronger to hold your buttons and your buttonholes. And then you can just hem it to the height or the length that you want to. And those are those patch pockets, but again, the other design has got inseam pockets, so that's up to you. You can make whichever design you like. But it's really simple, it's really pretty, and it's really trendy as well. It's a lovely little dress. Okay, so have a look on the website for all of the details of the patterns there. There is a more in-depth demonstration of said pattern that Janice did a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to save all of those because they fit my granddaughter. The 11th of July this one was on, so if you want to see more details of how to make that particular dress there, do take a look there. Now coming up next, we've got that brand new Creative Grids ruler. So we'll see you again in a couple of minutes' time.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer, and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping. Christmas is going to be here before we know it, and as with every year, we want to make sure that we get our makes ready in time for gifting on the big day or for decorations in the lead up. We're here to help with our Christmas make shows, starting with our 3-day event on Friday the 31st of July until Sunday the 2nd of August, and we'll be live for 5 hours each day too. Expect lots of festival quilting, FPP, dressmaking and needle felting to make all your decorations, advent calendars, cushion covers and so much more. We'll have our expert tutorials from some of our favourite guest designers and a fabulous competition exclusively for our Sewing Street family. Keep your eyes peeled on our email newsletter, Facebook and Instagram for more details in the run-up. And don't forget to tune in from 8 AM to 1 PM on Friday the 31st of July until Sunday the 2nd of August on Freeview Channel 74, Sky 670 or on our YouTube channel.
Hello, I'm Katharine Wright. I'm from Leicestershire Craft Centre, which is based in Market Harborough. I love all kinds of sewing, but probably my favourite thing to do is dressmaking. But I also teach patchwork and free motion embroidery and anything to do with textiles really. I love to have a go at felting and crochet and knitting and you name it, I'll have a go at it. So I started sewing when I was 7. My mum taught me to sew and the very first thing I made was an apron. But I'm a terribly impatient person. I always just want to get on with the project. So I didn't wait for her to help me cut it out and I cut it out myself and I didn't know you had to have a seam allowance. So I made the world's smallest apron and my mum still has it somewhere. Sewing tips, I would say, I teach a lot of people to sew, especially beginners, and I would say don't get disheartened, take your learning journey slowly. Don't expect to suddenly make a ball gown or suddenly make a king size quilt. Build up your skills, slowly. And I would also say the iron is your friend. Use your iron a lot. It makes your sewing look so much better. It helps you get things in place where you want it before you sew and is a really handy thing to have.
Would you like to take part in our weekly competition? If you do, then all you have to do is head to the Sewing Street fan page group on Facebook. Post your picture of your make. Myself, Debbie Shaw and John Cole Morgan love looking at all of your makes every week. We pick our favourite and announce the winner every Friday live on the show. Happy sewing and good luck.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great.
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
And it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and Gemporia.com.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Hello and welcome back again. We've got a brand new ruler coming up for you in this hour. Just need to have a word with Angie though, she's late again. Angie, we've been here since 8 o'clock this morning and we have done nothing all morning because we've been waiting for you. We've been saying for the last 2 hours, where's Angie? We can't start with Angie, without Angie. You've missed the early bird, packet of pins. But a packet, I haven't got them over. The early bird is saving off a couple of pounds off these, and they're flower head pins. These are the kind of pins that I use an awful lot. So it's quite nice to have them at a reduced price. I'm not taking you through everything else, Angie. If you can't be bothered to get here at 8 o'clock in the morning, then you're just going to have to watch on YouTube. Bet Leah was here. Morag was here first thing. Dawn was here first. Ruth was here first thing. Angie. Enjoying the seaside, I reckon. Angie from Great Yarmouth. Anyway, I'm over it now, Angie. This is your brand new Creative Grids ruler. Not just brand new to us, but it's also brand new to Creative Grids as well. It's £25.99 and we've got lots of samples of things that you can make. We're going to take a look at with Katharine very shortly. The thing with Creative Grids, they will have the rough bit, so they are grippy, so they're non-slip rulers, but they also have a QR code on the instructions, so don't throw these away. Don't mind, that's Katharine's. There's a QR code, so if you hover your smartphone or tablet over here, you'll need to download an app. They're free. It'll take you through to a YouTube video with this shape being demonstrated. Otherwise, have a look at when it's free and everything else, and it's not exclusive for when you've bought this. If you go onto the Creative Grids YouTube channel now, you can have a look at all of the different videos for the rulers, but you will see a demonstration on how to use this. So you might get it home and think, I haven't got a clue. So you've got help at hand there as well. But Katharine's going to show you how to use that in just a second anyway. So brand new for today, £25.99. We've got, yeah, it's brand new. They've only just launched this one, so it's nice to have a bit of newness, isn't it? So very new to you, but very versatile as well. Instructions are included as well. So again, have a good old look at this when you get it home. You can see the kind of shapes here that Katharine's already been making that you're going to be able to create, but in lots of different sizes as well. So really clear instructions with lots and lots of diagrams, which is what I like too. And I've no idea why it's called Kitty Cornered. I don't know. I just don't know. Doesn't look anything kitty-ish to me. I don't know. But that's what it is. Kitty Cornered. That's what it says. That's what it is. That's what it is. Who am I to question? Right, we have put together some bundles of fabric for you as well. Daisy May is quite a new brand to us here at Sewn Straight, and they're very pretty, but they're instantly recognisable. Daisy May isn't a person, it's just the name. I think it's two sisters that own the company. We've got chickens and strawberries on this one. 1.5 metres in total, so each piece is half a metre long, and they're 112 wide. Isn't that pretty? And the colours are gorgeous. You've got a really deep navy, you've got pale pink with butterflies, hairs, and chickens on that one. And then to coordinate, you've got the pretty little ditzy fabrics as well, the flowers, sorry. And then we've put a solid in there too, because that in the middle of the both of those breaks it up really nicely. And of course, you've got two fabrics in here. You're going to need some border fabric as well, maybe, or sashing fabric, maybe. But only £16.99 for 1.5 metres is fabulous value. This is Alison Glass fabric, which again Katharine's been making samples up in. So we have the cross-stitch design. This one is called Unicorn. I don't know why. But you've got little birds. In fact, you probably see it more on the line. The design there. You've got birds, you've got bugs on there as well, you can see there. Let me open it up a little bit more so you can see more of the design. There's a bee. I've got that the wrong way around. And that's it. Those are your two birds, look. So beetles and bugs. There's a lion. The little mushroom. I can't see a mushroom. Oh, they've got squirrels. There's a squirrel. A couple of squirrels. We've got ladybirds. But it's all very subtle, isn't it, in the cross stitch? And we've teamed this with 1/2 metre of the sapphire solid too. So that's Alison Glass. And then we've got a Moda bundle for you too. So we've got the floral and the spot and the green solid there as well. Chartreuse. Apparently. £14.49 is your price for those. Okay. Should we get going with this ruler? I think we should. I think we should. So Katharine's going to come on in just a second. In fact, she'll be here just after this.
Hello, I'm Katharine Wright. I'm from Leicestershire Craft Centre, which is based in Market Harborough. I love all kinds of sewing, but probably my favourite thing to do is dressmaking. But I also teach patchwork and free motion embroidery and anything to do with textiles really. I love to have a go at felting and crochet and knitting and you name it, I'll have a go at it. So I started sewing when I was 7. My mum taught me to sew, and the very first thing I made was an apron. But I'm a terribly impatient person. I just want to get on with the project. So I didn't wait for her to help me cut it out, and I cut it out myself, and I didn't know you had to have a seam allowance. So I made the world's smallest apron, and my mum still has it somewhere. Sewing tips, I would say, I teach a lot of people to sew, especially beginners, and I would say don't get disheartened. Take your learning journey slowly. Don't expect to suddenly make a ball gown or suddenly make a king-size quilt. Build up your skills, slowly. And I would also say the iron is your friend. Use your iron a lot. It makes your sewing look so much better. It helps you get things in place where you want it before you sew, and is a really handy thing to have.
Right, and here is the lady herself again. Do you know, I haven't got a clue. When you look at this template,
You open it
I
up.
see lots of squares.
You open it up and it looks a bit daunting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information on it.
Yeah.
But actually, when you get going, there is all the information that you need.
Okay.
It's just knowing where to look. And so I'm going to go through the whole thing with you, and you will be enlightened by the end. Because
Okay.
I was, and I really
Enlighten me.
enjoyed it. You can make 11 different sizes of little block. And I have made one of each to show you all the different sizes, from a tiny little cute 1-inch one up to a 6-inch one, and all the half inches in between.
Okay.
So you can see that this one ruler will do all these different sizes. Same pattern, but different sizes. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the 5-inch one today. As you get down to the smaller sizes, it starts to get a little bit more fiddly.
Okay.
So we'll start with a nice size to work on. And you've got a little grid. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there is some information on there that actually tells you what to cut. It's actually even there on the ruler. That's a good idea if we put that underneath. It's on the instructions that come with it too, because we're going to cut larger than the finished block.
Right.
So for a 5-inch finished block, we're going to cut 2 squares that are 6 inches long. Here's some I prepared earlier. I'm using the nice chicken fabric. I like that one. And then you also need, and then you turn it around and it tells you your unit B. And for a 5-inch block, you've got to cut 2 rectangles 4 inches by 6 1/4. So even just the reference of your original cutting is on the ruler. You don't have to keep going back to the instructions if you don't want to. You've got a little reference check there.
Okay.
So I did cut those out ready before I came. I've got some chickens and some flowers and my solid rectangles. Now the first thing you need to do, whiz up the little ironing board, is press your squares diagonally into a nice triangle.
I can't see where it's going at the moment.
Bear with me. The patterned part is going to be our central kind of kite shape. I couldn't work out why it was called kitty either. I thought they looked a little bit kite-ish. And because you...
Maybe it was a bit of Chinese wisdom. Oh, what should we call it? Let's call it kite. Did she say kit? Yes, I think we'll call it kitty then. I think that's what happened.
Okay, so we're going to press these like this. It's because you're cutting larger and you're making a larger block that then gets trimmed down. It's quite forgiving.
Yes.
And it means that they do come out really, really perfectly, even if your original cutting or your pressing isn't perfect. Which is always nice, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so we've pressed those. And then you're going to find on your ruler where it says step 1. Step step 1, we're cutting out A units and we're going to fold the square diagonally, which we have, and we're going to place the fold on this line. So the top of the ruler goes to the top of the point of your triangle. There's a little dotted line that shows you where you've got to line it up. And then we'll cut it off. They're little spare bits that can go in the scrap box. So open it out. There's your kite shape.
All right.
Okay, so we'll do a couple of these. So this gives you your first shape. Because you're doing it in half, obviously, it's going to be lovely and symmetrical. Okay, let's just give them a little press as well.
Difficult to do without the right ruler as well, isn't it? The rulers give you the real accuracy that you need for patchwork.
Absolutely. Right, so
We've
put
got a
those to
mucky pad
one.
there, haven't we?
It's sticking a little, yes.
I blame John. I blame John for everything.
Okay, we're going to get our rectangles now, and so we've done step 1. You then rotate your ruler, and it tells you step 2. I'm just going to line up my rectangles so I can cut a couple at a time. Okay, now with your step 2, top of the ruler with the little, there's a funny little, almost like it's like they've forgotten to put the corner on. They've left the corner off, and that lines up with the top of your rectangle, and then the solid line lines up with the edge of your rectangle. And then we're going to cut that in half. Remember, always cut away from you. This has given us mirror pieces.
Oh, they're both the same.
They're
yeah.
exactly the same.
Okay.
So you've got 2 block worths there. And then we're going to turn that again, and you rotate your ruler again, and we have a step 3. Okay, now this is going to, if you can see, the 2 little black lines line up with the edge of your, I don't know what shape you'd call this now.
I don't know.
There'll be some mathematical proper geometric name for it, and I don't know. But you take off this little corner. This is going to give us the 1/4 inch when we sew it.
Right.
Make it work. It doesn't matter what size you're doing, that little V shape lines up and it works.
Oh, so even on the inch
It's really clever, yeah, for all the sizes, because as you said, did every size, and it works for everyone, and you just take that little bit off no matter what size it is, which is really cool. So we'll just do this one as well. Okay, so that's your first lot of cutting. Then you can start piecing some bits together. Right, now this was the bit where I was a bit like, oh, am I going to get it the right way around? The way to remember this is your small bits at the top. And when you fold it in, it looked as in, so right sides together, it looked to me like it was giving itself a hug. And that's how I remembered it. So your right sides together, we're going to start sewing from that top edge, 1/4 inch seam right the way down. Don't start at the bottom end, because it's got coming down to such a fine point. You're going to get it a bit chewed up, or you're not going to start it in quite the same right place, whereas here you are.
Okay.
So it might be, like on this side, I've actually got to flip it and do it this way around, but I've lined it up properly, and because I've got the lovely 1/4 inch foot on this machine, I do like the 1/4 inch foot on this machine.
Yeah. It's got the guide on the side of it, so you can be really accurate.
So you can be really accurate. I'm just going to line those up carefully as I go. All the way down, and we can see that's going to out nicely. Now you do need to press it in between,
right?
Because you get a little bit of an overlap at the bottom.
Okay.
So when you put the second one on, if you haven't pressed it, you'll get it all scrunching up. Now normally, I don't know about you and patchwork, I'd say press it towards the darkest one.
Yes.
But with this particular pattern, they like you to keep this part and press away from the sort of diamondy shape. And actually, yes, you can see it a little bit, but it's not too bad, is it?
But you're probably going to put some wadding behind it anyway, so...
Absolutely. So we're going to do the other side.
Did you do a lot of quilting?
I like doing patchwork. I love putting fabrics together and trying out the designs and everything. I don't like the quilting part.
Don't you?
No, I have lots of unfinished quilts, and I've recently discovered the joy of a tied quilt and how you can just finish them off really quickly, because I don't particularly like the quilting part. But I really enjoy just like, lovely fabrics. It's a great way of using up a lot of fabrics.
So I'm the opposite. I like the quilting bit. I'm not so keen on the patchwork bit.
There's the good thing about it, don't you think, though? It's such a massive, massive subject, quilting and patchwork. There is something for everybody. Yeah. You can find the bit that you like doing and concentrate on it, can't you? So you can see when I've got both sides on there, we've got a quite nice looking square, but we're going to make it look even better because we're going to go back to our lovely ruler and use it to trim it down. And we make 2 trims. So the first trim, we've got a little corner sort of V shape, and that's going to go onto the very bottom point of your kind of kite shape, and then the diagonal line that's coming down there needs to intersect the point of the top, like so.
Lovely.
Now, the only thing I didn't like about this was when you cut it, you always had to do one cut that was not away from you. You had to kind of go across yourself at the top. So just make sure you keep your fingers really, really well out of the way. And I've done this one the wrong way because I got to do it like that. But
Oh, you needed the spinny mat.
I did, didn't I?
It's underneath there somewhere.
Never mind. Just go through that way. Okay. When I do the next one, I'll do it the right way. That way. I'm just going to just get that edge nice. It was like I was left-handed or something, which I'm not. Okay, that's better.
Did you watch the video? The Creative Grid?
I did, yes. And she explains it in about three seconds flat, and you kind of go, ooh. And then actually when you do it, it's fine. So that's the first trim, and then you turn it around, and for the second trim, this time you use your block measurements here. So we're going for a 5-inch block. Line that up like so. Again, make sure your diagonal line's going out towards the point at the end.
It's quite a bit larger, isn't it?
It is, but it does mean if it goes a bit wobbly, they turn out brilliantly. So that's your finished first one. You've got a 1/4 inch here, so then when you start to attach it to other things, it's going to work out beautifully, and it's lovely and square.
So how would you join them together? Because I'm picturing the way that you've done it there as like a cross in the centre if you put 4 of them together.
Well, I think so. I'm going to make another couple while we chat, and then we can see how they could go together. So yeah, they could go, where's my other 5-inch one? So they could go in like that. Yeah. But they could also go like that. And I did see a nice pattern on the internet, on the Creative Grid's little video. She gives you quite a few ideas of how to put them together. They did a nice one where they put some sashing in the middle, which was quite nice as well, which worked really well. So we'll put that one to one side. Okay.
We've had an email, been inundated with an email from Amanda. She says, "Hi Debbie and Catherine." Hi Amanda. Good morning to you both. She says, "Thank you for the demonstrations." Oh, she says, "It makes this dull and miserable morning all the more bearable." Well, thank you. She's supposed to be working, but she's listening to us. There's better things to do. Working.
I think it's called multitasking, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, you can watch and listen to this and do a bit of work at the same time.
We could extend the Sunday morning rule to a Monday morning as an exception.
I think you
if
definitely
like.
should.
Sunday morning rule is because Boris says that you have to distance yourself from your vacuum cleaner, from the sink, for any household cleaning appliance, from any kind of dusters and cleaning products. Now that's come from Boris, so we all do as we're told.
I'd missed those guidelines, but I
Have you
like
missed
them.
them?
Yeah.
It's my uncle Boris. It's not the Prime Minister, of course. But yeah, so no working on a Monday morning. We normally save it for Sundays, but as you're watching this morning, Angie knows.
And these are unprecedented times, Debbie, so we have to do these things, don't we?
We do. This is compulsory, so we just have to get on and do as we're told. I mean, I hate it. I love washing up.
Shall I tell you what I spent most of yesterday doing?
Not washing up.
No, I didn't. I did a fair bit of washing up. Preserving cherries.
Oh!
I've made cherry gin,
Yeah.
cherry brandy, cherry jam, and when I go home, I've still got more.
I did it a couple of weeks ago. I actually put on Facebook. I've got an abundance of cherries for some reason. What shall I make with them? And I was thinking cherry pie, and every single comment I think included alcohol. You know what you like. So I made cherry gin. And it's still sitting in a bowl in the kitchen. And my husband said yesterday, "Is it about time we threw this away then?" So no, we're going to drink it at some point.
You have to steep it for quite a long time.
Yeah. Mine's been about 3 weeks.
Yeah. It'll last forever, gin. It's not going to go off, is it? It depends how fast you drink it, of course.
We'll never get around to drinking it.
Well, I'm actually thinking a few people might get cherry-inspired alcohol for Christmas. It has to be said. But yes, they're not cherries from my garden. We rent a cherry tree and then we go and pick everything on the tree. Yes.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's down in Kent, and you get told when your cherries are going to be ready. And then you go to, and so we have
adopt a cherry tree.
It is, and we have a lovely day out all together picking our cherries. But there were loads this year, absolutely loads.
Did they send you pictures of it?
Well,
when you
this
adopt
year,
an animal?
normally you can go on the blossom walk, but we couldn't this year. So they did send us a video of the blossom, so that was nice. Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely idea.
Yeah. But it does mean that the past few days, there's been a lot of cherry things happening. And I don't know how you found it, but there's just like cherry juice everywhere, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like I'd murdered somebody.
I'll tell you what I did here, and I want to look into it. I don't know where to go. Christmas trees. Christmas
you can
tree
rent them.
rental.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a lovely idea because they come in a pot. And then when you take them back again, they're replanted.
Yes.
So you're not chopping trees down.
We're planning to do that this year.
Are you?
Yes. Yeah, and you can get different sizes. I did look into it last year, but we weren't fast enough. You've got to be quite quick, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's becoming quite a popular thing to do. Yes,
I
but they'll
think it's a
deliver
great
it and
idea.
come and collect it off you.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, if you've got anything unusual that you rent, come and let us know.
You can rent all kinds of things. Oh, I've not taken the little edges off that bit. I'm getting there. I wanted to get 4 together for you, and then we could put them together in a nice shape.
Yeah, have a play with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the little bit that I forgot to do there was just to take the little corner off, so you get that 1/4 inch. So that was the step 3. What's nice about this ruler actually is it has literally got it all written on, little diagram to show you, clip the corner unit. So you can't really go wrong with it.
It's nice the instructions are on there though, aren't they? Because we always lose the instructions.
The ones that come with it are great actually. They're very great. They're good diagrams, very straightforward to follow as well. But yes, you're likely to put that to one side and it get caught up and what have you. But it is all on there. Okay, that's better. But I think, normally if you tackled a block like this, with these kind of angles, sometimes it can all go a bit pear-shaped, can't it?
Yeah.
And And I mean, if I'd been doing it without cutting it bigger and trimming it down, I would have wanted to maybe starch it.
Yeah.
But actually this hasn't needed it at all. Partly because it's really nice fabric, I think. But partly because you do the trimming at the end, which kind of puts everything right if it's not gone perfectly.
It's a lovely fabric. I love the colours. It's Daisy May's, I think it's going to be one of those, it's quite a new brand, one of those designs, or one of those brands that you recognise the designs.
Yeah.
Like you know, you can tell what a moda is. You can normally tell a tilde fabric. It's kind of got its own, what's the word? Statement. Signature is what I'm trying to think of.
I particularly like the hairs and the chicken. I'm very fond
Yes.
I'm very fond of a chicken. I have a lot of chickeny things in my house.
Have you?
Yeah, just sort of, you know, cushions and jugs, and we did used to have some as well. They're very, very nice pets, chickens.
They are, and they've got so much character.
They
You'll have the
really
brave one, the shy
have.
one, the cocky one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to keep chickens. All manner of poultry and poultry too.
Did you have ducks?
Yep, I've had ducks, I've had peacocks, I've had turkeys,
Oh,
I've had quails.
I'm not sure about turkeys.
No,
They're big, aren't they?
The turkey hens were gorgeous. The cock or the stag, I had to give back again because he was nasty.
Was he?
Yeah, he'd fight with my cockerels, so stag had to go.
And what about geese? They can be a bit fierce.
No, we haven't had geese, but my dad used to have a pet goose.
Was it all right?
Yeah, oh, we've got some silly pictures of my dad with this goose. They adored each other, but she hated my mum. I was working somewhere, and there was a pet shop there, and they had. I basically came home with a goose one day, or gosling, and this goose that they call Goosey. Just fell in love with each other, but she would attack my mum. She gets so jealous. And she came into the kitchen one day, just marched through the door. This is the goose, not my mother. Flew at her, knocked her to the floor. She broke a wrist. And while she's down there on the floor, the goose is on her back, pecking the back of her head. Really didn't like my mum.
Oh, your poor mum.
Yeah, I know. My dad forgave her though. The goose.
The goose.
Yeah, good guard dogs though.
Yes.
But no, I've never had a goose.
Well, I imagine that possibly put you off slightly.
She broke a wing once. I think there was an episode with a fox. I think the fox came the worst off, but Goosey broke a wing. Aww. And the picture I'm thinking of is my dad. The vet put a splint on it and put the sticking plaster right on top of her feathers. So when it came to change it, it was going to pull it off with all the feathers. So my dad soaked her in a washing up bowl in the kitchen with soapy water and really gently peeled away all the sticking plaster.
Your dad loved that goose, didn't he?
Oh gosh, yes.
Right. We've got two more
Funny what
together.
we talk about on a sewing channel, isn't it?
So we're going to trim it down.
Right.
And just see where we've got to. That's it. So it's that little bit goes into the corner and the line out to the other corner. Doing it the right way this time. Okay.
Have you got pets now?
Not right at the moment. Very sadly, the hamster died during lockdown. That was a bit traumatic, yeah.
Oh.
But we are hopefully very soon getting a dog.
Are you?
And I've wanted a dog for like my whole life. So I'm very, very excited.
What are you looking at? Kind of breed?
Some sort of, well, possibly a terrier poodle type cross.
Oh.
Nothing too posh, nothing too fancy, just a nice little thing. So there we go, that one's trimmed down. Look, you see, with the fabulous way you trim it, they really, really do come out all the same size. So a little bit up there. And again, it's labelled trim 1, trim 2. It shows you which way round to do it.
We had a previous shopping channel I worked at. We did a thing of sending in photos of your pets, and it was Christmas time. So it was, have you got Christmas outfits for your pets? And somebody sent in a picture of a snake with a Santa hat on.
Oh,
yeah, didn't seem to mind.
Do you know what? It takes all sorts, doesn't it? It really does. Okay, so there we go. 4 really nice blocks, all the same size. And we'll have a, shall we have a go at putting them together and see what they look like? We can decide which way round. So we could have them like that. I've not trimmed that one. Or let's just quickly trim that. So you can tell straight away if you've not done the right bit.
Those colours, I'm just thinking if that was a full-size quilt, aren't they pretty?
Absolutely
that
gorgeous.
Looks really stunning.
Absolutely lovely. Yeah, I would definitely choose these ones. They're really nice. So we could go this way. Or we could try them almost like a little star. I quite like the little star.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a go at putting them together like this, because these ones I just made them and I didn't put them together. So we'll see what they look like all put together. So I have got an edged seam to match, a couple of seams to match. Can I use one of your lovely flower head pins?
You can.
Just to hold in place. I do find it just keeps my seams better. Although, Debbie, you'll be cross with me. I often sew over my pins.
No.
I do. I'm really sorry.
Bad form.
I know. Right, which way am I going? Let's just see.
I've never had a disaster happen sewing over pins. It just really worries me that if you're going to break a needle where the point of the needle goes.
That's kind of the worst thing that can happen, that you break a needle. I don't want that to happen today. I'm going to take my pin out. I also don't want you to tell me off.
I wouldn't do that. I'd just frown at you. You got any more messages from you?
So obviously, when you put patchwork together, you're always trying to do things in rows and not go around corners. So you're going to put 2 and 2 together, and then we'll join the middle together. Yeah, I think this is nice.
It actually comes together quite quickly, doesn't it?
It does actually, and I think it's a block that looks more complicated than it is with the ruler. The ruler makes it much more straightforward. Definitely. Okay, and give them a press.
So with those, would you press open or to one side?
Well, I always press to one side because then they can nestle together.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
one way, one the other is what I would do. So occasionally you get people say to press them open, but when they're so small, 1/4 of an inch, it's really actually very tricky.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm patient enough to do that. I like to crack on and get my project done. So hopefully I've done that way. And that one the other way, just about. You do always want to make sure you've got them really well pressed and well open, and then they do go together more nicely than if not. Okay. So we've got 3 little ones to match up here.
Something the size of a cushion cover would be nice with those as well, wouldn't it? You don't have to, if you're new to quilting, don't think don't be intimidated by huge quilts that you see that look amazing. You can start really small.
Always say to beginners, don't leap in there with the king size quilt. Yeah. You will lose heart. Start, smaller. Yeah, cushions, bags, patchwork. Patchwork's great for lots of things, actually, and smaller projects. You've got to have a lot of patience to tackle the big quilts, haven't you?
Yes.
And a lot of time, and not all of us have heaps of time. Although I do admire the people that do these lovely, lovely, lovely big quilts.
Yeah, they do look impressive. I don't know if I'd have the patience.
Okay. I might get the top put together, but I wouldn't get it quilted. That was my trouble.
You can send them off though, can't you?
Well, you can. You can. But then it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same as, you know, saying it's all your own work.
Yeah.
There we go. That looks really nice, doesn't it?
That is nice, isn't it? And you can imagine when the next one goes next to it, you'll have the white or the cream diamond shape in the centre, won't you?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, you could put a little sashing between it.
Yeah.
It's entirely up to you. You could do one this way and then you could rotate the next one and have it going outwards as well if you wanted. There's all sorts. There's all sorts you could play about with.
Yeah.
I mean, we've put 4 together there very quickly, quicker than I thought it would take, to be fair.
Yeah, we've got about 20 minutes left.
Well, we can cut some more and do a smaller one if you like, to show smaller and I'll show how it works. But they've gone together ever so quickly, which is great, you know, when you want to think, oh, yeah, let's make a lap quilts. They're good, lap quilts, because you can cut those down.
Yes.
You know, do a lot of cutting.
Okay. Yeah, so let's have a look at a smaller size then, if you don't mind.
Am I allowed to cut one of these?
Yeah, of course you can. What would you like?
What shall we do? I only did small ones with this. Shall we have a go with the little green and green and blue? I like these. They're really poppy.
Right.
Okay, so if we're going to go, let's go for say about a 2-inch block size. You will see a finished 2-inch block size. We're going to cut 2 squares that are 3 inches. So you see we're going a whole inch bigger to give us that extra to play with.
Okay, we've had, excuse me, I've got a tickle. Caroline's messaging on Facebook. She says, I am super happy I managed to catch the show live today because normally she's a YouTube catcher-upper. Also love the goose story. We had ducks when I was a child and hatched ducklings on many occasions. My dad managed to save an egg that wasn't able to fully hatch on its own. Oh, said duckling then saw my dad as mummy and he couldn't live with the other ducks as they would attack him as an imposter. Is that your dad or the duck? Oh, there we go. So he lived, so I've lost my thread. So lived with us. He was called Omelette. Oh, I don't know about that. Mind you, one of my turkeys was called Sage. He would come in the house, travel in the car, even visited me at school. I loved that duck.
Oh, ducks are really nice. My daughter has got tropical fish, and she had one called Sushi.
Oh, if they knew, they'd be mortified.
I know.
Oh, Laura producer's saying her mum had lobsters and shrimp, and she still does. I had crayfish.
Lobsters as a pet?
Yeah. I had a couple of crayfish and I called them Ronnie and Reggie, the crayfish twins.
That's quite an unusual pet to have.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be something a little bit different. They didn't survive a house move, unfortunately. I bought them some little crabs as company. So the crayfish are about 4 or 5 inches long. There was a blue one and a red one. And I bought them some tiny little crabs as company.
Oh.
They ate them. Woke up in the morning, crabs were gone. Lived up to their names, those crayfish.
Okay, so the rectangles for a 2-inch finished block, we're going for a 2.5 inch by 3.25 inch.
I like a pet you can cuddle. Crayfish aren't too cuddly.
Yeah, crayfish aren't the best, are they, for that?
No. What's your most unusual pet? What you got at home? I do a Facebook Live on a Saturday morning every week, and we have, my dog's always there and she barks an awful lot, and we set off dogs barking all over the world. It's hilarious. I've had them barking in Australia before now. And I like to name check people's dogs just to wind them up a little bit. And I was calling a parrot the other day. Can't remember, was it Clive the parrot?
Clive the parrot.
Clive.
Fantastic. Okay, so same process. We fold the squares into the diagonal.
I think it's so clever. You can have all of the different sizes. Did you say 11?
11 different,
all on one ruler,
different
and
sizes, all on one ruler.
And it's not a massive ruler.
No, it's a really nifty little bit of kit.
Yeah.
I have to say. So, step 1, we line up with that top edge of your thing and the dotted line on the fold. And you've only got to do it a couple of times and you've got the hang of it.
Yeah.
I have to say.
So do you make up all of your blocks as you go? Or would you have them all made up to start with and then sew them all together? All of your shapes, sorry.
What if I was doing this in a...
If you're doing it for yourself at home.
Oh, I would often have like a cutting session.
Oh, would you?
Get all my cutting done, then get all my piecing done. Yeah. There's something quite satisfying about having a nice pile of everything cut ready. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Step 2. This is our bit with the cute little cut-out edge. Line that up. I think this is clever because it does make that mirror image. And then remembering to take off the little corner. So you can see it's a lot smaller, but look, that corner bit still just
still
fits.
works, yeah.
Somebody very mathematically clever's worked this out, haven't they?
That will be,
which would be
Deb Heatherly. Deb, why kitty cornered?
Maybe it's just because it sounds good. Okay. And then those little bits, let me just press those open. A lot of pressing in patchwork, isn't there?
Yes.
You do, but it's worth it. On the slightly sticky board. Do you know what? I get in such trouble with my husband the whole time because I frequently stick things to the iron. There's always something with a bit of bond or web or interfacing stuck to it, to the point that he made me go out and buy a separate ironing just for sewing.
Ooh.
I know, because he was so sick of things getting stuck to his shirts.
Paracetamol tablets, apparently.
Ah,
if you
that's
rub it
good to
over the
know.
mark, then they come away.
Ah, excellent. Right. Obviously, with a slightly smaller shape, it is slightly fiddlier when you get to sewing it. And I did find that the tail wanted to, like, because it's so small and pointy, wanted to kind of squirrel off in the wrong direction. But you can just about make it do what you want. Let's do it that way.
Just trying to think of the different designs you can come up with that shape. You could just kind of have them random, couldn't you? So it's not forming a star shape.
Yeah.
Or maybe around a border would be nice.
Yeah, sort of in a, like a little diagonals going along like little dots.
Yes.
It's it is a quick and easy. It certainly makes this a slightly more complicated looking shape a very quick way to do it. Your rotary cutter and the creative ruler and your fabric, and that's it.
Remember, you do have the QR code on the instructions as well, which will take you straight to the video that relates to this ruler. But if you have a look on YouTube and go to the Creative Grids channel,
it's very easy to find.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they've got lots there, haven't they?
They've got loads of different demos and different rulers. Absolutely. This is the first time I tried one of these sorts of rulers.
Is it?
It is actually. I tend to, do everything just by hand, but I really would investigate others and use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it just because they do just come out brilliantly. I'll just trim those off.
They're so accurate. It actually looks like your foundation paper piece them. To get the point so accurate.
So then we found our nice little trimmy bit. Line that up again. That's it.
And I do like the oversized block and cut it down. It can be very difficult to sew and get an accurate square block because no matter how carefully you are, your fabric can twist a little bit, things tend to grow a little bit.
We were going for a 2-inch finished. It makes all the difference, I think, and the more patchwork I do, the more I think, yeah, trimming your blocks down is the key to getting really, really accurate results. There we go. Oh look, I did that my demo one in exactly the same. I obviously liked that combination. So you can see, you know, 3-inch difference on those squares compared to the first ones I did.
Yeah.
But it's just as easy to use, isn't it?
Yeah. I wonder if you can mix all of the different sizes together, or maybe a couple of different sizes together. So you could do the larger squares for the main part of the quilt and then the small ones as a border.
That would be really nice. And, you know, if you had these, some of these colourways, because you've only got 2 of the colours in the block, but then you can use your other one to put bits in between, put your sashing in between.
Have you got any dates to come back with us?
I believe I'm back on the 10th of August.
Oh, okay.
And possibly another date in August that I can't remember.
Do you know what you're doing?
Oh no, it's always a surprise.
I've said that to every guest I've been with for the last few weeks. When you're back, I'm back so and so. Do you know what you're doing? No.
I think I got this on about Tuesday.
No, really?
Yeah.
What would we like?
So there we go. So you can see, let's put them in the middle. The small ones work really nicely as well.
Yeah, those colours are nice as well. Just the
it is.
blue
They
and
pop.
white.
I like, and yeah, I really like them. There's a little green one in with it.
Yeah.
To be fair, all these fabric combinations are gorgeous, aren't they? I'd choose any of them.
Yes, a good job done, I reckon there. Now with your ruler, remember this is new to us, but it's also one of the newer Creative Grids rulers as well. Love the way that, of course, you get all of your instructions as you expect and the QR code, so you've got video, but they're on here as well. So if you do lose the instructions, you've got all of the measurements down there too.
Yeah, you can see that literally the whole thing.
Yeah.
And yes, each corner. So each corner gives you a different thing to do. So it's got your cutting instructions, then you go step 1, step 2, step 3, and over there you're trimming.
Fabulous.
It's very clever.
It is.
Very clever little piece of kit. Yeah.
And I love the different sizes as well. So give it a go. You can place your order on the phone lines on 0800 001 4433. You can go to the website, which is sewingstreet.com. We've still got another hour coming up. We're going to be looking at this sewing machine. The 570 is back. But I'll give you the details of everything that we've got for you in this hour in just a second. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Debbie.
Have a lovely morning this morning. So come and have a look at what we got. So ruler first of all, there you go. That is £25.99. Again with instructions and with your video code on there as well. So do take a look. You'll come up with, or you'll have examples of different ideas and of course how you're going to use the ruler as well. But as you've seen, it's ever so easy to use anyway. If you'd like to go with any of our fabric bundles, we have the Daisy May. So chickens, butterflies, get the baby. Oh, have a look at the selvage on this one as well. Because it's actually got little chicks on it, look. Pretty. So I don't normally use selvages for anything, but you know, you would that one, wouldn't you? You'd save that a little bit. And then you have the smaller flowers and all in that really soft, pretty peach background as well. So it's really lovely. Nice quality as well. You've got 112 centimetres wide and 1.5 metres of fabric in the bundle altogether. We've put this together with the cream coloured solid. So that's your Daisy May. And then we have the Moda. So a little bit more affordable because we've got a couple of poplins in there with it as well. So that's your Moda Canning Day fabric bundle. This is £14.49, again for 1.5 meters. So we've got the chartreuse, and there's the spot, that's your poplin, and then there's the Moda fabric there as well, £14.49. And then there was the fabric that the Alice in Glass one that you've been using. Of course, you get yours all in the right pieces. So we
I wouldn't have chopped any of them up.
These are the 2 cross-stitch ones, and then you have the sapphire there as well. 1.5 meters again for £16.99. Have a look on the website for anything else. You've got loads of fabrics on it. I think some of these are available by the ½ meter as well. So if you wanted to make a dress out of one of them or something like that, then you can do. Right, we've got more coming up in the next hour. We're going to be taking a look at the sewing machine. We're going to be having a chat about maintenance on sewing machines as well. I'll show you some of the stitchers, so we'll have a play with the different types of different techniques you could use there as well. So we'll have a quick break. We'll see you again on the 10th.
A couple of weeks, yeah.
Lovely. That's granddaughter's 3rd birthday. Oh, I know, little one. And we'll see you again in just a couple of minutes.
Christmas is going to be here before we know it, and as with every year, we want to make sure that we get our makes ready in time for gifting on the big day or for decorations in the lead up. We're here to help with our Christmas make shows, starting with our 3-day event on Friday the 31st of July until Sunday the 2nd of August, and we'll be live for 5 hours each day too. Expect lots of festival quilting, FPP, dressmaking and needle felting to make all your decorations, advent calendars, cushion covers and so much more. We'll have our expert tutorials from some of our favourite guest designers and a fabulous competition exclusively for our Sewing Street family. Keep your eyes peeled on our email newsletter, Facebook and Instagram for more details in the run-up. And don't forget to tune in from 8 AM till 1 PM on Friday the 31st of July until Sunday the 2nd of August on Freeview Channel 74, Sky 670 or on our YouTube channel.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great,
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
and it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and gemporia.com.
Hello and welcome. We love hearing from you and we really hope that you can follow us on our social media platforms. We've got Instagram, which is @Sewing Street. We have Facebook. We've got 2 Facebook pages. One is the Sewing Street TV page and the other one is Sewing Street Fans. All 3 of these are monitored all the time by our wonderful team, and if you want to message us on air, drop us a line on either of those 3 and we'll definitely be able to answer your questions that you may have. If you post on the actual wall, we can perhaps answer there. Otherwise, message us as well. That works really, really well. Thank you so much for being involved, and it's only because of this community that we're able to bring you all these different diverse products and to be able to answer your questions that you may have. Another way you can stay in touch with us is by signing up to our newsletter. These newsletters are sent out to you very regularly, and they include not only our guest profiles of upcoming guests, but also amazing shows that we've got coming up for you. And if you want to look at the amazing products before everybody else, that's the best way to do it. If you'd like to sign up and you haven't already, the link to follow is www.sewingstreet.com/sign up. You won't regret it. Thank you.
If you love sewing, then you need the UK's favourite sewing magazine. Every month, you'll receive exclusive patterns, Follow simple step-by-step guides suitable for all skill levels to make your own stunning clothes, accessories and more, together with inspiring tips and tricks from industry experts. Join in and discover your love for sewing. Try Love Sewing today and get your first 3 issues for just £6.
Well, this is our final live hour this Monday morning on Sewing Street. There is another hour of sewing afterwards, but it won't be a live one like this one. So we can be a little bit interactive if you'd like to. We are going to be looking at the back in stock 570. This has been really busy already. It did actually come on the website yesterday. And it's been really busy for it this morning as well. We've got a brand new price for you. We've got a brand new bundle for you. So we've got some fabrics and things to go with it as well. But if you've already got the machine, if you have any questions, or if there's anything that you want to know, anything that you want to see, any stitches you want demonstrated, if you're wondering what some of those stitches actually mean, how do I do that, what threads do I need to use, if you should have a bit of a sewing surgery, an ad hoc sewing surgery, because that's normally should be on a Monday. But if you've got, on the first Monday of the month, if you've got any questions, then come and ask them. studio@sewingstreet.com is our email address, and that's Laura in my ear. Who's going to be picking up your emails and passing on any messages or questions, or you can go to our Facebook page, which is just Sewing Street TV. And I've got that open on my phone at the moment. I think I'm phoning somebody. I have to put some fabric on top of my phone and the numbers just come up. Do apologise if it's you. But I'm on the Facebook page right now, so if you've got any questions that you want to pop on there, then please do so. Okay, so let's take a look at the kind of prices you're going to see this for if you have a look on the high street, because the bundle that we've got is incredibly good value. Now it's £699 here, look, and that's including the extension table and all of the feet and everything else apart from the fabric and the bobbins and the snips that we've put together. But just bear that in mind, £699, that's a good price for a 200 stitch computerised sewing machine, is it not? But then if you keep having a look around and having a shop on different websites, you'll see this one, look. So that's the same way. You do get the extension table with that, by the way. And that's, again, £699 again. And then have a look at the side of your screen here. And look at the price that we're bringing this to you for, because we have a very competitive price. And we are, it's £100 less. And we're including some fabric, a couple of metres of fabric, and you've got some thread snips, and we're giving you spare bobbins as well. So £100 saving off the retail price that we saw this for on the high street, and extras there as well to get you going. So let's have a quick tour around the machine before we get sewing. Let's start here at the stitch selection and the buttons in front of you. A computerised sewing machine, if you haven't used one before, you will find so much easier to use than an electronic or any kind of manual machine, because the stitches are all preset inside the machine. All you need to do is to pick the number. If you have machines with dials on the front, you probably find they don't have the amount of stitches that a computerised sewing machine will have. So we've got different modes that'll take you through the different pages of stitches that are available. So we've got 1, 2 as your stitch selection, and then we've got a couple of alphabets on there as well. So obviously it's highlighted as to the one that you're doing. When you first switch any computerised sewing machine on, it will default through to a straight stitch, and that's exactly what happens here. We have a memory on here, so you can store letters and the embroidered designs, and you can use those together as well. So the decorative designs, not embroidery. That's a cancel button. So if you're putting something together and you make a spelling mistake, you can just press cancel. These are the stitches that are most often used. So instead of scrolling up and down through the numbers or looking in your book or at the sheets on the side to see your numbers, the numbers of the stitches, you'll have a straight stitch, a zigzag stitch, an overedge stitch and a buttonhole stitch. So as soon as you press that, then it'll go straight to that stitch without you having to scroll up and down. Let's go back into straight stitch. When you do pick a stitch number, we go up in tens and units, and each one of the stitches will have the stitch length and the stitch width that is recommended for that stitch. So I'm on stitch number 41 at the moment, and it's gone to 3.5 in width and 2.5 in length. If I want to increase or decrease, if I get a double beep, it's not going to allow me to go anymore. You can't do that stitch any longer than that one. The width, you can go up and down like so. The information on the screen here, well, you've got a foot pedal. The foot pedal's plugged in at the moment, but you don't need to use it. So I'm going to unplug it, and the foot pedal icon disappears. You do have a speed control on the front. I'll show you that in just a second. So you have the stitch length, the stitch width. There's my foot pedal gone back in again. And then the letter of the foot that is recommended for that particular stitch. That stitch just happens to be an over edge stitch, like a blanket stitch. So it's just recommending the standard foot, which is foot F. If I'm going to go for a buttonhole stitch, then it'll ask me to put buttonhole foot R on there. We'll do a buttonhole later, and it's also asking me to bring down the buttonhole lever. I'll show you that in a bit. Then as we move across here, you'll see that you have a speed control on the front. So if I'm not using the foot pedal, I'll use the start-stop button and the speed control. If the foot pedal's plugged in, I can still slow this down. So even if I put my foot right down to the floor, I can control the speed at which I'm sewing. That's a great idea for those of you that aren't very well coordinated, or if you're teaching a youngster how to sew and you don't want them getting too carried away. Those are your thread snips. So that's a thread saving exercise, also saves you cutting the thread, particularly useful if you're doing lots of smaller pieces, if you're doing patchwork, for instance. You can choose whether the needle starts and stops in the up or down position by pressing this button. This one's a lock stitch, which means that when you press that and you start sewing, instead of using a reverse, this will do 3 or 4 stitches on top of itself. And that's important if you're using the decorative stitches and you need to lock them, because a reverse stitch can spoil the design. That'll do the stitch on top of itself there. As we come on over again, you've got the tension here. That will be set when you get it home to 4. The most used tensions, I've got boxes around them. There is very few times that you'd have to adjust the tension. We can have a chat about tensions if you like. I know I chat a lot about tension, but it gets the blame for so many things, and it's not tension's fault at all. Just over on the top of the machine here, you have a presser foot pressure dial. So you can increase or decrease the amount of pressure that the foot puts on your fabric. Not all machines have that, but it just means that if you're sewing very fine fabric, you can put more pressure on to force the fabric through. If you're sewing through thicker fabrics, you may want less pressure. You can drop the feed dogs. There's a lever at the back here. So just flick that over to one side. It's not a heavy machine. If you're doing free motion embroidery or something like that, you don't want to use the feed dogs, same as if you are sewing buttons on. And just at the side of the machine here, you'll see all of the cards. I'll be so glad when we've got camera operators in our new studio. So here are the cards that go down the side, and it's nice to have all of those stitches right there in front of you. The only thing that aren't on these cards, because there's only 4 of them and there are 200 stitches, is the alphabet. The alphabet is in the instruction book, so don't throw your instruction book away. In fact, it's always good form to have a look at the instruction book first, because you may see something in here, a technique or something that you didn't know about. So do hang on to that. So mode 1, when you pull this out of the side, you'll see the first set of utility stitches. Now we have a centre stitch. This stitch will automatically reverse at the start and stop, or lock stitch, move the stitches to one side. Anything that you see with 3 dashed lines like this means that it's meant for stretch fabric. So that ends up like a back stitch, so that'll stretch. Your lightning stitch for stretch fabric. Then we have on different widths of that. We've got the zigzag stitch. This one's great for sewing in elastic. Over edge stitches to help to stop your fabric from fraying. We have blind hemming stitches and for stretch fabric. All of these different buttonholes. This is a buttonhole for stretch fabric. This one gives a hand finish kind of look. If you're hand sewing a buttonhole, then you can use this stitch first of all Firstly, as a guide, if you're doing lots and lots of hand stitch buttonholes, it means that you've got exactly the right size. But if you machine stitch the square first, that gives you, it stops the fabric from twisting as you're sewing, but it also gives you a strong stitch line to then hand stitch over the top. This one's a mending stitch. And then we go on to decorative stitches down here, and stitches that you can use for smocking or mock smocking because they're not actually stretched. In mode 2, we have more stitches that you can use for quilting or decorative stitches. This is a ladder stitch. This one goes over the ladder stitch twice, so you get a thicker outline. These are nice for smocking or for cording, for decorations. This is a good faggoting stitch, so you can join 2 folds of fabric together. Or decorative, maybe over edge. You know, there's so many different uses for these. These are all decorative. That's a pretty one. We'll have a play with those in just a second. In mode 3, more decorative stitches. Stitch in the ditch stitches, great if you're a patchworker or a quilter. Satin stitches, and then there's more decorative stitches there. Remember, you have got a memory. You can join all of these together if you wish. And then up to 99 stitches are pretty stitches. More decorative stitches, we've got cars and cats. I love the sewing related ones. And then you've got a lock stitch. There is the switch on the front of the machine to do that, but if you're using the memory and you want to lock stitch at the end of the row of stitches, then you just put in number 99. In your book, there is, you've got the alphabet, and there are uppercase and lowercase. Mode A. Oh, I see. So we have all of your numbers and letters in the first section. So that's the mode A here. Have a look there. So the first mode A are these letters. You could actually cut these out and maybe laminate them and keep them near your machine if you wanted to, instead of going to your instruction booklet every time. And then in the second mode A with an accent, you've got all of these. I know they're not kumquats, but it sounds a little bit like that. I can't remember what they're called. So you've got all of these different icons as well. And again, while you're there, the instruction book is very clear, lots and lots of diagrams, but hints and tips as well. So that's your faux smocking I mentioned earlier on. This is faggoting. So 2 folded edges of fabric with a different colour behind makes a really pretty effect. Scalloping edges, you can use a satin stitch or that design and cut around the edge of maybe napkins and handkerchiefs and things like that. So there's lots of techniques in here as well. Now we haven't finished yet because we have feet and lots of. So I mentioned buttonholes before. This is your buttonhole foot, and it's a 1-step buttonhole which measures the size of the button that goes in the back here. So you get a perfect row of evenly sized buttonholes when you're sewing. This is a tool which you use if you are sewing through thicker fabrics. So I've not done this one before. I think that goes in there. No, it doesn't. Where does that slot into? Oh, there we go. If you're sewing through thicker fabrics or fabrics with a pile-on, then this goes underneath your foot goes on the top, your fabric's sandwiched in between. And it helps to keep layers of fabric together while you're sewing. And if it's got a pile-on, it helps to squash the pile as you're sewing. Then we have a free motion embroidery foot. Remember, you can drop your feed dog, so that makes it really easy to do. And that's an open-toed free motion foot. You have a 1/4-inch foot, so that is perfect not just for quilters and patchworkers, but if you want to make perfect top stitching, it's got the little guide at the side. So if you're top stitching, say for instance around the flap of a bag, you just run the guide around the edge of the flap, and then you're getting the perfect seam allowance for edge stitching. This one is an over edge foot. So it's got 2 bars that go down the centre. That helps to keep your fabric flat as you're sewing. And the little brush at the side here isn't to clean as you go. That is to flick in any loose woven woven fabric threads as you're sewing. And the stitch will wrap very slightly around the edge of your fabric. So if you don't have an overlocker, then use your over edge stitch. It won't trim the fabric, but it'll have that same effect. You've got a zipper foot, which you expect. That's a satin stitch foot. This has 2 rungs that run across the bottom of the foot, which raise the foot slightly away from the satin stitch so you're not squishing it. and they're transparent, so you can actually see the stitches clearly as you're going. And then this one is, oh, that goes on there. That's why I couldn't get it to fit. That fits on there. They'll work differently, so that goes on there, and then that goes in there, and that's for your thick fabric. Blind hem foot, again, it's got a guide on it, and that'll give you a perfect hem for invisible hemming, hems that you don't want to see. You expect to have a crinkle pick and spare needles. That's a screwdriver. You've got a couple of spool holders. You've got a spare spool holder here as well. And if you're twin needle sewing, do I have a twin needle? No, but you can do twin needle sewing, in which case 2 spools are preferable. So you've got that as well. Now I'm just going to thread this up in a different colour thread. So we'll start from the very beginning, because that's a very good place to start. And it's all knotted, so it's a very good time to do it as well. Right, so you come out, because I've got white fabric and I want the stitches to really stand out. So let's start with actually filling up the bobbin thread as well. So, spare bobbins. It does come with bobbins, spare bobbins. They will be, you'll have spare bobbins and you've got your extras here as well. I'm going to open these, I am. Nobody's telling me not to. Right, we've got any questions yet? Any requests, anything that you want to know? Let's go for a dark red so we can see it clearly. It's a great machine for a beginner sewer as well. It's so easy to use, and I always say that if you are just starting to sew, I shan't open those ones. Don't go for the very basic machine, because you'll outgrow it really quickly. And very basic machines, or the cheaper end of the market, may not have the strength and the power to push that needle through thicker layers of fabric, which you may want to do one day. And if you're starting off sewing thinking that you want to be a dressmaker, you might change your mind. You might want to do repairs, you might want to do a bit of patchwork, you might want to go into homewares or bag making and cushion covers and curtains. So I'd always go for a machine that will have the capability to do that. Okay, that goes on the top of there. I'm winding this backwards a little bit. There's a thing on the top that looks like a screw. That's not, it's a tension dial, so your thread needs to go underneath there. When you're using these spools of thread, couple of tips for you. Always have the thread coming off in the direction, so it comes off the top of the bobbin. So you'll know which way around they are because they've got writing on them. So make sure you feed it in with the top of the thread coming this way, and make sure there aren't any little nicks and things on there as well. Because some of the threads, particularly the older ones, have got like a little cut on the side, and that's where you kind of push the thread into to stop it coming undone in your sewing box. But that can also trap the thread as you're sewing and make it catch. And when that happens, your threads, your stitches will become tight, and you'll blame your tension. Poor tension, it's not tension's fault. Use the right size spool cap for your thread. So I'm using a small thread sized bobbin, so I'm using the small one of those. If you're using a larger bobbin, use a larger one. Reason being, if you put this large spool cap on here, it might be all right, but it might restrict the flow of the thread coming off your bobbin, in which case your stitches are going to look tight and you will blame your tension. Poor tension, it's not tension's fault. Right, we're going to flick this over to one side. That disengages the tension, so the needle's not going to go up and down. And I've lost my foot pedal, bear with. And then press go. Speed that up a little bit. When the bobbin is full, it will automatically stop. I don't think we need to actually fill it up for just demonstrating a few stitches here, so that'll do. So let's give that a snip. This may be engaged actually when you get the machine home. So I'm not sure how these come packaged, but basically sometimes the manufacturers will slip this over so that everything is disengaged when you get it home. And you'll thread everything up and you'll start to sew and nothing will happen, and you'll send it back because you think you've broken it, but it's not. You just need to flick that back out again. Your threading system now is really simple because it's all numbered, and if you've ever threaded a sewing machine before, this works in just the same way, so just follow the numbers around. And then when we come down to the front here, you have your needle threader. Make sure you go through all of these little hooks. They're all there for a reason. So there'll be one right above the needle. Make sure you go through that one. All of these channels affect the tension, basically. So you need to go through all of them correctly. When you get to this stage, so I've gone through the bar at the top here, put the foot down, because at the moment I can pull this thread through freely. When I put the foot down, it's firm. That means the tensions are engaged. If it still pulls through freely, you need to rethread. Just start again. So with the needle in the uppermost position, if you're not sure if it is, take the needle down, take it back up again. Just got a thread in there. I'll get that out in a second. And then when you pull the needle threader down, the needle has to be really upright. Pull the needle threader down here, and it's quite nice because it stays there. Some of them don't. Then we're going to take the thread across the front of this hook. It's actually put two tiny little hooks, tiny little hook through the eye of the needle. So if you put your thread through or across here, I can't even see that hook, I don't know if you can, and just lift it slightly at the side but don't pull it. And then when this comes back up again, it'll form a loop at the back of the needle, which you just pull through and you are threaded. With your bottom thread, this goes in the shape of a letter E, so your thread comes off the bottom towards the right. Drop that in here, put your finger on the bobbin, pull the thread forward and take it to the left. This is your tension, so it needs to go underneath there. And then you go around again following the arrows. When you come back down to here, there's a blade and it snips off the end of your thread. And then we put this back on again. Right, one of the most common things that people say to me about tension, so I just want to remove that thread because that really shouldn't be there, is nesting of thread underneath your fabric. If you've got lots of thread under your fabric and it's getting into a big knot, it's a top thread problem, not necessarily a tension problem. If you get nesting on top of your fabric, which very rarely happens, that's a bottom thread problem. And that probably is that you haven't just engaged the tensions. There's nothing to alter down there, so that very rarely does anything go wrong there. Okay, so we've switched it on for the first time. It'll be a straight stitch. Have a practice, play with some of the decorative stitches. It's so easy. I'm going to take the foot pedal out, because I can. And let's start to sew. So I've got the speed control on the front of me now. I'm going to press start. And away we go. So it starts quite slowly and then speeds up. If you want to slow down, if you want to be really accurate, if it's the first time you've used a sewing machine, then just use the speed control and slow down. It's as easy as that. But any machine will do a straight stitch. Not every machine will do a decorative stitch. Not every machine will snip your thread like this one does. So a good sign, or a sign of a good stitch, is that it's the same on both sides. So your fabric, you'll know the right and wrong side. You shouldn't really know the right and wrong side of your thread. Let's have a play with the decorative stitches. And I would always stitch out a decorative stitch first, because they can look very different than the pictures either in the book or on the bars at the side. So I like stitch number 88. So I'm just going to go I'm keeping Joe fit today. Joe's our director today and is in the room next to me here, but the camera that I keep asking for is over there. So when I say look at this and the camera's pointing at something else, he has to run out, change the camera, run back in again. Thanks, Joe. So what number did I say? It was number 88. So that's it. So I've got the stitch width and the stitch length and the foot that is recommended. So if I just press start, it'll sew. Oh, I slowed that down, didn't I? I'm going to go back up again. We'll do it speedily. So this could be around a pocket or a cuff, around the hemlines of dresses maybe. See how quickly this goes? I am guiding the fabric from the front, by the way. I know you can't see that. Never push or pull your fabric. If I just turn that to the side a little bit, you'll see it's actually going backwards and forwards. When I've taught beginners to sew before now, quite a lot of the time, the stitch is coming out there. Oh, you'd think it was on a Lazy Susan. It's tempting to do this. Don't. You've got feed dogs underneath here that are pulling the fabric through at the rate that the machine wants it to. So all you need to do is to guide it into a straight line. Isn't that a beautiful stitch? It's really elegant. That could be around a napkin, it could be a Christmas tablecloth. Maybe do a sampler, quilt with different blocks in different stitches, so you always know what you're looking at with it. So that's enough of that anyway. Shall we have a play with some of these feet? Shall we do the buttonhole? Oh, I've got an extension table I haven't even told you about. You've got an accessory compartment that comes off the side. I'm not going to leave this on actually because it's easier to move the machine around to show you without the table on. But that goes on there like that. And that's quite a nice size. That'll give you somewhere to rest your wrists when you're doing free motion embroidery, and it gives you support. You were talking about viscose fabric earlier on that can spill off the table. That gives you support to help hold it in place. Another thing while you're there actually, you've seen at the back you have the drop feed dog facility. At the front there's a little screw. Now the reason for that, if you start sewing out a buttonhole particularly, I've never actually used one of these, but this is what it's for. Do a test first always. Sometimes the shape of the buttonhole can be a little bit off. By adjusting that screw, it will bring the stitches back to make it square again. So I don't know why. Never done it myself, but that's what it's there for. Never had a problem with that. Buttonholes. Have I got a button? I don't know why I'm asking myself. I should know if I've got a button or not, should I? Right, just wait, I'll just go downstairs and do another ballet move. I've got a button. Oh, right. So, do that there. Trim that off a little bit and make myself a little bit tidier. Your buttonhole foot has a gap at the back, and that measures the size of your button. So this fits in here like that. And when it goes in, we're just going to squish it. So that's a nice snug fit. So you'll notice actually as I move that with the button, this changes shape or length. This is going to be the size of your buttonhole. So it's the perfect measurement for whatever size of button that you're popping in there. And that's really important if you're putting buttons onto a blouse or like the little girl's dress pattern that we had this morning, and you want them all perfect, uniform in size. What I do as well, whether it's a shirt or if I'm putting a buttonhole on the flap of a bag or something like that, I'll sew out the buttonhole first, I'll show you, and then I cut it out so I know exactly the position of that button when I first start. And because machines are different to each other, take a note of where it's going to start, how far it sews back, so that you can get the perfect placement for your buttonhole. Because once you've done it, it's very difficult to unpick a buttonhole. Now these are snap-on feet, so there's a lever at the back of the take-up lever, and when you press that, your foot drops off. Oops. And then this one just drops back on again. So position the bar underneath here, drop the take-up lever back down again, and that's on. Let's do needle up, needle down, and that's taking my thread to the bottom. I'll just choose the standard buttonhole foot, and there is a message asking me to bring down the buttonhole lever, and that's here. And that has to sit, oops, no it's not, that's the needle threader, what am I doing? Buttonhole lever back here. That sits in between those two bars. Remember I said the two bars that measure the size of the button? This is a sensor. So when you start sewing and your foot goes back, it will touch the sensor, and then the machine knows to turn around and come back again in the opposite direction. So that's how you get your perfect size buttonholes. If you try to sew a buttonhole with that lever up, you'll get a couple of beeps, you'll have a warning just to let you know that it's not engaged. So again, this will be my practice, so this isn't going straight onto my garment. Always do this first of all, and put the foot down, and I'm just going to press start. So you'll have a straight stitch going backwards, and a zigzag stitch coming forward. So you can see when that sensor touches the bar, it turns around. It'll do a bar tack, which is the zigzag stitch at the end, each end of the buttonhole, stitch going back again, bar tack, and then zigzag coming down. So the straight stitch underneath the zigzag is a strengthening stitch, and the zigzag stitches coming in the same direction, if you have a fabric with a pile on it, will flatten the pile in the same direction. Now I haven't pressed stop, the machine knows that it's finished. I'm going to snip my thread and it will automatically stop. And there is my perfect buttonhole for the size of the button. So I'll test that out in just a second. So let me take the foot off and take the button out. Do we have a button placement stitch? No, we don't, but we can sew buttons on anyway. And we'll do that. So I'm going to cut through the centre of the buttonhole. If you're a little bit wary of cutting out the middle, because we don't want to cut through the stitches, put a pin across each end to prevent you cutting through. So let's go down here. And then the button will fit perfectly through the buttonhole. Like so. Perfect. I would that and that and that. That's what I normally do. And then if I'm making a blouse, I know that I need to start my buttonhole stitch here so I can gauge exactly how far away from the edge it is. If I'm putting a buttonhole in the centre of maybe a flap, because you're sewing this way and the flap will be that way, I don't want my buttonhole to be even like that. I want to be dead in the centre. So I can actually mark exactly where that buttonhole is going to go. Let's sew a button on. I'm going to drop the feed dogs because I don't want the fabric to move because it'll move the button. Don't think I need a foot for this one, we'll have a go. So that goes down. Choose a zigzag stitch, and before you start sewing, turn the hand wheel towards you. At the moment I'm going to hit the button. So I'm going to make the stitch wider. Still going to hit the button. Oh, I've made it narrower. Right, let's move that over to one side. Right, that's it. So I'm in the holes, and then, oh, I'm putting my foot on the foot pedal, it's not plugged in. So that's my button sewn on. If you can get button placement feet, I find it easy if you don't have a button placement foot not to use the standard foot when you're sewing buttons on, because the edge of the ankle here will grip hold of the button and I can see where the holes are more clearly than using a standard foot. We have the 1/4 inch foot, the over edge foot. Let's have a go at this one. So make sure you bring the feed dogs back up. Now when you do that initially, so I move those back over to one side, they'll stay down. So don't worry about that. When you start to sew with your first stitch, they will raise. That happens on most sewing machines. The over edge stitch, well, that's one of the ones right in front of you. And I've got a few frayed bits on the edge here. So line up the edge of your fabric with the bar here. And then as you start to sew, the stitch goes over the edge. You can adjust the length of this again if you wanted to, speed it up a bit. So the stitch is wrapping itself around the edge. I'm just going to curl this up a little bit, as if that was a very frayed piece of fabric. The brush is taking away any lint or anything like that, tucking in the frayed edges and give me a nice neat edge to my work. So let's pull this out, and there's my stitch around the edge of the fabric. And there we go. So that's that. What else should we have a look at feet-wise? Should we do blind hemming? Right, that's my blind hem foot. And blind hem stitch is it not on there? On you go. Now we've got a couple on here. We're going to go for, let's do the stretch one actually, just because we can. It's not stretch fabric, but you can blind hem stretch fabric. Now the way to do this, let me just snip off some of this fabric so I've got an edge. This is if you're dressmaking skirts, trousers, or making curtains maybe. Let's chop this off here. Right. So if this is your hem, I'm just going to, oh, excuse me a second while I plug the iron in and get my little ironing mat. So leave yourself quite a nice deep extra fabric around the hem to start with. So if that's the edge of my trousers, my skirt or whatever, I'm just going to fold that up. And that's the length that I want my hem to be. So that could be my trousers, that could be my skirt or my curtains. And I'm going to press it. And then I'm going to fold the hem here over by about 5/8 of an inch. And press it. So this is what I want the inside of my, say it's a skirt. That's the hem on my skirt. That's not quite straight, is it? That's it. But I want very few stitches to show on the top of my fabric. So I'll put that on the table so you can see it a little bit clearly. Now I want to sew under here, right? So if you fold this up and turn it over, that's where I want to sew. So the raw edge is hidden away inside here. My hem is going to be exactly on this line here, and fold that over like so. And we'll sew down this way. And the way that the stitch works is to sew a few straight stitches and then it'll zigzag. A few straight stitches, zigzag. Always practice first because you can adjust the length and the width of the stitch as well. So you get the perfect stitch. So the idea is where I'm zigzagging onto the fold here, I want that stitch to be tiny. So with your foot, you've got like, it looks like a blade, looks like a little ice skate blade at the bottom. That's your guide. So bump that up against the fold of the fabric. Choose your stitch, so I'm going to have a go to stretch one. It's number 14. And then start to sew. Now I'm not quite catching that stitch. This is why you need to have a practice first of all. So I'm going to move the needle over a little bit. And then we'll have another go. Oh, I've not quite caught it again. This is why I need to play with it, you see. Is that to do with it being a straight stitch, I wonder? Let's go back again. I don't want to hit the bar in the middle, but I do want... I'm taking it narrow, I keep doing it the wrong way. Let's make it wider. Right, now try. That's it. So again, always have a little bit of a practice first. Oh, I've made that really narrow now, haven't I? Oh, there we go, that's got quite carried away with. Oh, I've gone over the side. That's because I'm looking at dials as I'm sewing, which didn't really work. So, got really quite carried away. That's what you're going to look like on the inside of that little bit. When you turn it over, all you're going to see on the outside are a few little rows of dots. This is what I'm saying about playing with it, because those stitches are too deep. That stitch was too wide. The little tiny stitches that I did too close together are probably the right size. So have a play on your scrap. If you've got a stitch that's that wide, narrow it. We want to see a dot. Those stitches are a little bit too close together, so widen them. And then when you press that, and of course you're going to use the same colour thread as your fabric, you're not going to see anything. So press that back up again. You'll have a little row of your that shape on the inside, and on the outside you should have a little row of dots. That's the way that works. What else have we got foot-wise? Your standard foot, we've got the zipper foot, we've got free motion. I think we should have a look at the memory on this. Oh, wrong foot. I just drops on there again. Now with your free motion foot, we did free motion yesterday, so I'm not going to do it again today, but you'll need to unscrew this screw here and the whole of this ankle will drop off. Then this one goes on in the same place, but it's got a bar on the top here that needs to sit over the top of the needle clamp there. So when your needle goes up and down, it bounces up and down here. Oh, I'll tell you what we were going to do. We were going to do maintenance, weren't we? No oiling with this one. Oh, I was asked the difference between the 578 and the 570. Was it ES? I've not used that one. The A is alphabet. So the difference will probably be that this one's got an alphabet on it, because there is a 570 that doesn't have the alphabet. So maybe you're shopping around and you've seen a bit of a difference in price. That'll be why this one's got the alphabet on it. Right, we will switch off before we start doing any kind of maintenance. I do this after every large project I do. Or if I'm quilting, or if I'm sewing through toweling or something fluffy. I'll change the needle and then I'll clean out the machine. So you take your screwdriver. This one shouldn't need cleaning out because it's brand new, but I'll show you what we do. And just take the screws out. Make sure you don't lose these screws because you don't get spares. So put them to one side safely. That you get. And the same with this one here. So just two screws in there. And then lift up the whole of this plate. Come on up. You will come up. There we go. All of that comes off. Now, people can get a little bit frightened of this bit because we've got all the gubbins going on inside here, look. So I'm going to take out the bobbin. Oh, and that is the bobbin case. That's come out as well. Do make sure you've got the machine switched off when you do this, remember. And then you'll have a lint brush in your accessories. I don't normally use this. I'll use a paintbrush, a very small water paintbrush, because I can get further in. But with a paintbrush with natural bristles, it tends to attract more dust than this. So you can literally kind of scoop up the dust from the inside. So you're going to go around here. So this is brand new, so there shouldn't be anything inside there. You're going to go in between the feed teeth here, because that can affect your stitch line. And any way you can, any way you see dust around here, then just lift it up. So with a paintbrush, you can get right in here, twizzle it around, and it's like candy floss when it comes out. You'll be amazed what a difference that makes to your stitching when you've cleaned everything out. On older machines, when you oil, you don't oil this one, but in the centre here is a wick. So when it asks you to put oil in your machine, you put a few drops of oil on there. So that feels quite dusty. It's not, it's a wick. So that's where your oil goes. This is all magnetic, and that's a magnet. That's metal on the bottom of the bobbin case. So that's how it holds itself in place. Now when you put this back in again, I'll put it down because it won't go in otherwise. Please don't force it. It will drop in, but it needs to go in a specific way. So drop it on there. And there's a little red dot that lines up with the corner piece there. Let's see if I can show you that. So a little red dot here lines up with that. If it doesn't drop in perfectly and just slip inside, persevere with it, but don't push it, don't force it, because you can damage the machine if you do. What I normally do then, change the needle, is just before I put everything back together again, turn the hand wheel towards you and just make sure that that bobbin case isn't going to clip out, so you know that it's working properly. Give all of this a bit of a dust, and then we'll pop the plate back on again. And we're ready to start sewing. That should again just sit in, it nestles in quite nicely, don't force anything. When you do, just take that out. When you do turn the hand wheel on the side of the machine, always turn it towards you. Never turn it away from you. It'll turn itself away when you're doing a reversing stitch, but better for the machine if you always turn it towards you. Okay, second screw in there, and that's that. Now you've got a 2-year warranty with this as well, and Elna are a very nice company. They're one of the big brands. They're all part of Genome. They're based in Stockport in Cheshire. They're very nice people, and they have a helpline. So if you do have any problems, if you do lose any of these screws, if you need any help or advice, you do have support there as well, which I think is really important. So that's that. Now that's the standard foot. Whoops. And it's got a button on the side. I think we were speaking about this last week, weren't we? I don't know if you were there, but I'm going to tell you again. So let's switch the machine on. The little button at the side will lock the foot into position. So if I press this, that doesn't go up and down. Normally it's a little bit wobbly. Press it and that stays solid, and that's for sewing over thick pieces of fabric or thick seams, such as seams in jeans. So if let me chop that off. If I'm sewing along and then all of a sudden I'm coming to a very thick seam like so, instead of I've put my foot on the foot pedal and it's not plugged in again. So I'm going to go slowly, and when you come up to a thick seam, I'll go a bit quicker than that, you'll see that the foot will rise at the front and glide over the seam. The problem there, if you've got very thick pieces of fabric, and this, it will help with bottom threading, but that was just to demonstrate the foot action, so just ignore the fact that I didn't have any thread in the bottom. A lot of the time when you're doing that on a regular machine with a standard foot, you'll have a skipped stitch as you approach the large bit, the thick bit. So here, sew along till you come up to here, then press the button, carry on sewing, and the foot, whoops, will stay at the same height. Over you go. As it goes over the lumpy bit, and then it automatically goes back into a movement mode when you come to the other side. And that just means that on that lumpy bit there, you get a perfect stitch without any skip stitches. So just in case you're wondering, that's what that bit's for. We do have a memory on this one as well, so there's lots of decorative stitches and you can join them all together if you wish. So let's have a look. Oh, pulled out the mains. So if I go onto memory here, I've got a flashing light in front of me, and that means, let me find my alphabet. Oh, there I put the manual. Let's see if we can join some of these together. So E is 14. Oh, no, 2. So we'll do that memory. And then, has that gone in? Yeah, that was number 1. So I want my stitch number 2. So let's do an L, which is 21. Oh, I'm in the wrong mode, aren't I? I'm joining other stitches together. Let's switch off and on again and start again. Off. Switch off. On. Right, we want mode 3. So mode 2. There we go. That's better. Then memory. So we're going to do Elna, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then memory again. So onto the second stitch, which is L, which is 21. And then mode. I'm on stitch number 3, which is 23. And then stitch number 4, which is 10. Because 1 to 10 are numbers. And that's that. And then I can program in that lock stitch at the end of this as well, which is 99. In mode 1. Is it in mode 1? No, it's in mode 2. What am I talking about? 2 and then 9, 9. Memory. Okay, so let's press start and see how we go. And while that's stitching out, we've got some messages on Facebook. Hey. Right, I need to go back and then forwards again because it doesn't refresh for some reason. So on to community, bear with me. And oh, hi Jen, just reading my article. I do an article in Sew Magazine every month. Watching you on Sewing Street, you're so helpful and full of knowledge and inspiration. Thank you for Sewing Street to getting Debbie back on TV. Thank you, it was lovely. Hope you're okay. Sarah often struggles with her fabric bunching up in the feed dogs when she starts sewing, especially if I reverse as well. Is there something simple I can do to avoid this? Yes, we can. We'll have a look at that in just a second. We can go faster. Caroline, we've had Caroline, she's got ducks. So I've come to the end of this. And let's snip that. And there's my, Elna. I don't know how the O got in there. It must have been because I was talking at the same time. But you've got nice clear stitches on there. And remember, you can join together some of the decorative. See, I went Australian. I went all Australian. I'm just bending down to the cellar again. A couple of things that you can do. Sorry, who was that? Sarah, wasn't it? It happens on any sewing machine. It doesn't matter how expensive or how inexpensive your machine is. Sometimes when you start sewing right from the edge of your fabric, it disappears into the feed teeth. And then you get a bit of a knot, and then you try and tug it out and cut it away. And if you want to sew accurately, as in you've got pieces of patchwork, you can spoil the whole thing. I don't know if I can make this happen. Let's see if we can do it. Never does it when you want it to, but this isn't normally something you want to happen. Or if you start sewing off the edge of your fabric, I've got my foot on the foot pedal again. I'm going to put the foot pedal in because that's what I'm used to doing. Right. And then let's start sewing. No, it's been perfect this time. Let's see if I can get it on the corner. You're not supposed to do this, you're supposed to eat up the fabric. Well, what we're going to do, if you don't use your thread snips, always take your threads to the back, start sewing right on the edge, hold on to your threads and turn the needle so that it's in the down position. And then literally as you start to sew, you're pulling the fabric underneath the foot. So you can accurately start sewing right on the edge of your fabric without it eating it. Another thing that you could do, if you're getting to the habit of using your thread snips all the time, you've got nothing to hang on to. So what I tend to do is to take a little piece of tearaway stabiliser, put it under the edge of the fabric. It may seem time consuming, but it's actually really, really quick, and start to sew off the fabric. And then when I've finished my seam, I can just tear that off. And again, you'll get your stitch going right up to the edge of your fabric without disappearing inside it. There's no other tricks and techniques. It's not anything that's wrong with your sewing machine or the way that you're sewing or anything else. It happens with sewing machines. I've got a rather expensive Janome machine at home, and it'll happen with that machine. It just happens. If you have a straight stitch plate on your foot, on your machine, and your straight stitch foot, that's what that's been designed to do, because you've only got one hole for the needle to go up and down in. This doesn't come with a straight stitch plate. The 780 that we've got on the website does, but that doesn't allow the fabric to kind of sink into the plate or into the feed dogs, because there's only that one hole, so there's only enough room for the needle really. But that's the way that I think you can do that. Haven't got any more questions, have we? Fabulous. Well, must be doing my job properly then. Know what you're doing. Where are we? Oh, we've got 7 minutes yet. Let's have a play. With some of the different stitches maybe. Let's do some decorative stitches. Number 84. So if you're going to buy a machine like this, it's got lots of decorative stitches and it's a shame not to use them. Otherwise, no point, is there? Let's have a look at the satin stitches. So I'll put the satin stitch foot on. And remember that the machine will advise me on the display at the top which stitch to use, which foot to use. So let's go a leaf design, number 32. So around here, 1, 2, 3, 2. And I've changed my mind. I'm going to do it here. So, might do it there. I've got a tongue in the bottom lip and shaking home. Here. Where are we going? We're going here. I'm staying there. Yeah. No, I'm saying that. I'm saying. Never have those eyes rolled further back into his head than they just did. Okay, so stitch number 32 I have chosen. What's DS for? Oh, I've not seen that one before. That's a new one. DS. I'm on mode 1. I'm on stitch number 32. Well, that'll be interesting. Let's see what happens. Not that. Oh, I've got the foot pedal plugged in, so that's telling me. Oh, I'm going backwards. Why am I going backwards? Hold the line. Interesting. That's a new one to me. I'll have a look at the instructions in a minute. Right. And that goes there. Stitch number mode 1. Mode 2. I know, you did say. So mode 2, 32. Then press start. Oh, foot pedal. And then start to sew. That's why I was going, oh, I'm going backwards again. I'm still in mode 1. Deborah, what's she playing at? Mode 2. And then 32. And then foot down. Honestly, you would have thought I'd never used a machine before. Now then it's stitching out, always do a practice first, so it's stitching out very nicely at the back. I might have those stitches a bit closer together, to be honest. I think it might look a little bit nicer, so I could do that by shortening the length of the stitch. So I've got a bit of a thread there. Just pull that out the back. But when I want to stop sewing, I don't want to stop halfway through a design. So if I press the button on the front that is the lock stitch, and then when it stops, it'll stop right at the end. So, oops, put the foot pedal out again. So I end up with the perfect design without it stopping halfway through. So if I now want to turn a corner or something, I don't want to lose the design halfway, then that will do that. That's a nice stitch. That's nice around the edge of a napkin maybe. Right, let's sum up because we're running out of time. You have a £699 machine, which is what other retailers are charging, for £599. You have a bundle of 1 metre of fabric and some snips and extra bobbins for your £599. You have a 2-year warranty from Elna with all of the support that a big brand of sewing machine is going to bring you. There are 200 stitches on the machine, including the alphabet and numbers, uppercase and lowercase for those. You have an easy to use sewing machine. If you can choose a number and press a button, you can use this machine. It's as simple as that. The legs flick out. So I didn't have the extension table on, can't move it. All of the stitches are here. Apart from the alphabet, which is in the book, so do bear that in mind. Included also are your free motion embroidery foot, your blind hem foot, your over edge foot. We have a 1/4 inch foot, that's the standard foot. I've got the satin stitch foot on there. You have a zipper foot, you have a 1-step buttonhole foot, and all of the other accessories that you're going to need anyway that you kind of expect to have with a machine like this. And you have a really comprehensive instruction book with lots and lots of diagrams, which is easy to understand as well. And in here it'll show you techniques like different types of buttonholes. I think corded buttonholes are in here as well. That's the mending stitch. Oh, I should have shown you that. That's you use the buttonhole foot with that. If you've got a tear and you don't want to pinch your fabric together, which will make a pucker in your fabric, you can simply darn over the top of it with that stitch there, and you can join them together if your tear is wider than the stitch will allow as well. So have a look through the instruction book when you first get it home. Have a play with the stitches, and really enjoy the machine. It's a really lovely machine. I'm going to buy this one for my daughter. The only reason I haven't already is because I haven't got a signal in the studio. She's a dressmaker. At the moment she's using my machine, which I'd love to give her. I'd love to. But she's short on space. So here you've got it's a compact sewing machine. But just because she's a dressmaker doesn't mean she's always going to be a dressmaker. She may want to try quilting. She may want to do homeware. She may want to make herself a pair of curtains or a Roman blind or some cushion covers or a throw. So I don't like a machine that's a one-trick pony. I'd like a machine, when I'm paying nearly £600, that will take me through all of the different genres of sewing. Okay, I shall see you again next Sunday morning. Coming up tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, bright and early, we have Fractions Quilt with Sally Ann Harrison. Quilting Tools and Gadgets is at 9. Creative Grids at 10. 11 o'clock, Liberty 1 metre bundles, and Susie Johns Fat Quarter books will be with you at 12 o'clock tomorrow. If you're ordering the machine and it's in your basket, please check out as soon as you can. But I'm sure you're going to love it. I'm off to order mine now for Kimberly. I'll see you again bright and early on Sunday morning. Have a good week.